What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. We are just shy of Monday, October 11th. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. This is the Week 5 NFL recap. And just for full disclosure, we're going earlier than normal. We are live on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6. If you want to watch, we recap Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. And if something crazy happens in the NFL, we'll break that down too. We're doing this differently because, you know what? Mother Nature threw us East Coasters a haymaker to the face and delayed the Bills and Chiefs game by a bunch. So myself, Ryan Wilson, and John Breech are going to recap the other games as Bills and Chiefs wraps up, and then we will get to that game. Any questions?
I have no questions.
I have one question. Why are we doing a rain dance in the first quarter? You can't dance, and you don't like rain, so it just didn't make any sense.
Hold on, Breech. I've actually got an addition. Oh, what's that?
Oh, he missed! He missed! Oh, and he may have pulled a hamstring or a muscle, and there is complete elation.
I feel like that's going to be a theme in the podcast today.
It may be. I'll try not to hit that. Okay, Wilson, over under 9.5 times that I play that soundbite on this podcast.
It's going to be over only because Kevin Harlan busted out the he missed on Sunday's action for I don't even remember the game because there's so many missed field goals.
It was the Chargers-Browns game.
Harlan was doing the Browns and Chargers game in the afternoon slate, and the Chargers were about to tie it up. They tied it up and were about to they were going to tie it up. And
it was 42-35. They scored a touchdown to cut it to 42-41, and Vizcaino went out to try the extra point. He had already missed one earlier in the game, and he missed it. We're not talking about this game. We'll talk about this in a second, but he missed it by more than anyone I've ever seen miss an extra point in the NFL. He missed the net on an extra point.
Pick Six podcast diehard listeners, or like regular listeners who were watching that game, I hope that you took as much enjoyment out of Kevin Harlan's call as I did. I almost fell out of my chair and rewound. I thought that I'd hit the button on my Roadcaster because he goes, he missed.
It immediately takes you back to every bone-crushing moment in Breech's 2020 season.
Correct. I mean, this is what Kevin Harlan said. This is not actually what he said today, but it was the same thing.
Oh, he missed! He missed! Oh.
Anyway, this is all a big lead up to the fact that the Packers beat the Bengals 25-22 in overtime. I would say a fantastic game. It was a thrilling game. There were 5 consecutive missed field goals. This was sort of like if like the movie The Truman Show with Jim Carrey, where they trap him in this world. He doesn't realize he's in the world. He's being watched the entire time. It's like or maybe it's Clockwork Orange. Like John Breech was an experimental person in this made up world where he had to watch 5 consecutive missed field goals only for the end result to be Mason Crosby finally making one and the Packers beating the Bengals 25-22. Breech. So here are the last 7 possessions in this game when the score was tied 22-22, which 1 is a weird score. 2, there was another game, Pats and Texans, which is also 22-22 at the same time. Missed field goal by the Packers. Missed field goal by the Bengals. Missed field goal by the Packers. Interception by Joe Burrow. Missed field goal by the Packers. Missed field goal by the Bengals. Mason Crosby makes field goal. Can you walk us through, Breech, your gamut of emotions, your gauntlet of emotions over the course of this stretch?
Let's just talk about the end of regulation because I have never been on that kind of emotional roller coaster that ended up just going off a cliff into an erupting volcano of lava. That is what my life was like. So
first of all, you're stealing my lava stuff, but that's
I love lava though. I love talking about lava. I would start a lava podcast if I wasn't on this podcast. So with 2 minutes and 14 seconds, 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, the Packers sent Mason Crosby out for a 36-yard field goal. Mason Crosby has made 27 straight field goals, which was the longest active streak in the NFL. There was no, in my head, I'm already thinking he's going to make this. Bengals have more than 2 minutes. They have some timeouts. They'll get down. They'll kick a field goal. We're going to overtime. So I was thinking overtime, but 25-25. So when he goes wide left, I bolted out of my chair. I've got a text thread going with my family. That thing blew up. I thought my phone was a grenade because it was just shaking everywhere. Then all this, because, now the Bengals get the ball at the 26-yard line, I think, and you just got to go down. Their kicker's really good. So they drive down, and I'm thinking, oh my God, if Mason Crosby's streak ended, this is obviously means the Bengals are supposed to win this game. And so what happens? The Bengals drive straight down to the Packers 40-yard line, 39-yard line, 25 seconds left, and they're trying a 57-yard field goal. And, you never want to see with 25 seconds left. I thought it was a little dicey because if he misses, then Aaron Rodgers only has to go like 15 yards to get his team in field goal range for another Crosby try. So, but I'm like, you know what? McPherson's got such a strong leg. He's going to hit this. He's going to hit this. He's going to hit this. And you know what he did? He hit the upright. He didn't hit this. And it was a great kick. He nailed it. I can't believe he missed.
Not to interrupt you, but you're sort of bearing the lead on that specific miss. What happened? When he hit the upright, he didn't hit the upright.
That's what I said.
No. That's later.
Brinson,
that's
come
later.
on, man.
That was the next
It was
one.
the Bengals fan that was watching the game. It was me.
Let him tell the story.
Trust me.
Sorry, go ahead,
That was the one that hit the upright. And
that was the big doink on the right side.
If he had been like 56 yards, 56 and a half yards instead of 57, it would have hit the upright and probably slid in.
Breech, he could have been 60 yards farther to the left when he kicked it, and it still would have gone through because he hit it pretty far up the upright.
Oh, he nailed it. And then, so at that point, he misses it.
I feel good that Evan McPherson's a great kicker. He's got a big leg.
Oh, huge. And he's done so always at game-winning kicks already this season. And so after he missed that, I resigned myself to the fact that the game was over. The Packers were going to win because they got the ball at their own 47. They literally only need to get a few yards to get in field goal range. It's Aaron Rodgers. We saw what he did against the 49ers with 37 seconds and no timeouts. And now he only has to go 15 or 20 yards to get in field goal range. He does it. And I'm literally like head down. Yeah, it's a good game. They lost by 3. No way Mason Crosby's. He had a 51-yard game winner against the 49ers. This one's from 51. And he misses this wide left. And at this point, this game is literally like, if I had won the lottery, but then found out that I actually didn't win because I was one number off, and then actually my neighbor dropped a gun and it shot me in the leg. That is like all the emotion I went through in this period at the end of regulation. And then I'll just fly through overtime real quick. Again, I thought they were going to lose after
just so it's on the record, that was the worst analogy of all time.
Or the best analogy. It's a lot of emotions.
I didn't hate it.
You win the lottery, you're high, but then
I got accidentally shot in the leg.
Yeah, and then the day ends with you getting a gunshot. I mean, that's a horrible day.
This is Breech halfway through his day. It's going to get worse.
It's not even over.
And so then the third quarter of Jets and Falcons in the morning. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So now we're in overtime, and Joe Burrow throws probably the ugliest interception Joe Burrow's ever thrown, and he's got to stop making those dumb passes. And after he threw that, I mean, this was just a horrible, horrible interception. The Packers took over at the Bengals 17-yard line. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, game over. This is it again. Text thread, like, oh, this was great. This was awesome. At least they played close to the Packers. And then somehow Mason Crosby misses a 40-yard field goal. And so now total elation. My kid is napping. I'm like trying not to wake her up. This was just total chaos.
It's almost worse that Mason Crosby's missing these chippies because you're thinking we're destined to win this game, and then the Bengals keep blowing every opportunity to win it. There were multiple fourth downs that could have, McPherson has his big leg, but if Zach Taylor had any intestinal fortitude, like 4th and 1 with a 49-yarder, just get the first down, get 10 yards closer, win the game, bro.
Well, and he usually does go for it on 4th down. It's funny because Zach Taylor's been such an aggressive coach for the past few weeks. It's like he's been reading all the reviews about him. He stepped up his aggressiveness, and then
he's fake Riverboat Ron. He knows how to get fired, so he
threw it out the window in overtime. So after the Crosby miss, now the Bengals have the ball back for the second time in overtime. They have 3rd and 2 at their own 38. That's when Burrow makes that crazy throw to Jamar Chase that Chase catches on the sideline, 21-yard gain down to the Packers 41-yard line, 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. If you're the Bengals after all these missed field goals, why are you even thinking about a field goal? You think, let's score a touchdown. Let's end this game. No, you know what happens on 1st and 10 from the Packers 41-yard line? They go run the ball, kick a 49-yard field goal. Didn't even try to throw to get it closer, anything. They gave it to Joe Mixon 3 times, which would be fine if Joe Mixon was 100% healthy, but he went into the game with a hobbled ankle, was basically on a snap count, and now, put the ball in Joe Burrow's hand. Let him try and get you 10 or 15 yards. He didn't. They did 3 carries and kicked a field goal, and McPherson, it hit the flag, I need to watch a replay of it. And then obviously,
Don't bury the lead.
Obviously, he missed.
No, what happened when he missed?
It hit the flag.
No,
hold on.
What happened? What did Evan McPherson do after he missed?
Hold on, just to be clear, Evan McPherson did this before the ball hit the flag. This was if you watch replay before the ball hits the flag, he is doing what, Breech?
He is celebrating, and that is because 99 point
helmets. He's losing his mind.
99.999% of the time, a kicker can tell as soon as they hit it if it's going in. And even if you watch, so if a ball goes over the upright, it's supposed to be good. And so
you're banking on 80-year-old men trying to figure something out.
That is true. Absolutely true. And so I think McPherson celebrating, and he never really slowed down until the ref said it was no. Like, even when he saw the ball go over the upright,
he didn't see the ball go over the upright because he was celebrating a half second before it got there.
The team was also celebrating. The Bengals celebrated until the ref swung their arms no good.
He was celebrating mid-arm.
He thought it was good.
Okay, all right. So two points of context on the celebration of the missed kicks. One, this was the weirdest kicking day ever.
Yes,
there were the first three or four kicks in Texans Pats were missed extra points. It was definitely first three. I'm not sure if they missed the fourth one.
I'll give you the exact numbers when we get to my losers.
How many extra points were missed on Sunday?
12
extra points. And it was basically like a it was,
by the way, that ties the NFL research tweet this out. That ties week 11 2016 for the most missed PATs across the league in a single week in the Super Bowl era. And as Breech probably knows, I had to look it up because I didn't want to put him on the spot. 2015 was the year when they moved the PATs back to make them 33 yarders.
12 is a ton. And they were missing them every which way. There was one in the morning game, and it was sort of like you knew there was going to be some weird kicking shenanigans. Now, I will say in Cincy, Green Bay, like Mason Crosby had at least one and maybe two kicks where he hit him straight, and this cross breeze just sort of caught it and it yanked it left. And I feel like the same thing happened with McPherson. Is that fair, Breech?
No, it was definitely the win, but McPherson.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The win. I'm saying like they were good kicks and wind just caught him and whipped him left or something.
Right. If there was no win, both of McPherson's kicks go in, but I don't think the same can be said for Crosby. So there's
there was 100% one of Crosby's that was straight and all of a sudden just yanked left like out of nowhere.
Right, but he also had, I think, two of the three were not great kicks.
I think some of that is Mason Crosby foot English, and like, how many years ago did he start having the yips? Because there was a time.
He had a yip year for sure.
Well, that was 2018 against the Lions when he missed like 4 kicks in that game, and then, but I mean, he was on a streak of 27 in a row, which was the longest streak in the NFL. So he kind of put it behind him.
He was but in 2018 he was, right?
2018, he missed 4 kicks against the Lions.
Before he missed the kicks, he was on the streak, right?
No, he was on the streak now.
No, he was on like a 36-plus streak.
It was 27.
All right, I'm not going to take any time to research that, but I'm sure you're wrong. At any rate, I'm sad the Bengals lost because I had the Bengals outright. You did not, John.
I had the Bengals losing by 3, and they lost by 3.
Yep. Well, I did too. Jamar Chase is unbelievable.
You had the Bengals winning by 3, Brinson.
That's fine. Jamar Chase is unreal. That guy, all that preseason nonsense was a waste of our time. He's incredible.
He without question. And the only issue I have, not with Jamar Chase, because he is, as you know, better than advertised as a top 5 pick. That's certainly saying something. My only issue is with Kevin King on the long interception he had. Kevin King did his best to like swipe at the ball and do it by missing it. I don't know what he was doing, the cornerback for the Packers. That should have been a pass breakup. The ball was ever so slightly underthrown, but whatever. Jamar Chase still had the focus to catch it, turn and run. Made that fantastic catch that Breech mentioned on one of the late drives that could have set up the game winner. The only thing that outshone Jamar Chase was Devontae Adams.
Oh, Devontae Adams is a monster. All right, so I think that there is a really good. I think this is the case. And I'm trying to think if I'm sleeping on somebody obvious, but so Trevor Lawrence has been fine. Trey Lance, fine. Justin Fields, fine. Mac Jones, fine. Zach Wilson, fine.
Mac Jones is slightly better than fine compared to that crew.
Okay, fine. Mac Jones,
fine.
Above fine. Above. But the point being is that the 5 quarterbacks who are the prohibitive favorites to win Offensive Rookie of the Year coming into the season, have nobody's blown you away yet. A lot of season left, but nobody's blown you away yet. You know who's blown me away? Jamar Chase. And he was getting crushed in the preseason. Bengals fans and critics of people who love Penei Sewell were melting down, saying, you should have drafted Penei Sewell. It's a huge mistake. Jamar Chase doesn't even know what size of NFL football is. He is he's a top 15 NFL receiver right now.
Yeah, but the reason that people were coming down on him is because he dropped every pass thrown to him, and he said,
in what games?
But you're saying it during preseason.
But those don't matter.
But when someone can't
What's
catch
he doing now.
But here's the thing. If Joe Burrow had thrown 8 passes in the preseason that were all interceptions, we would be concerned.
Of course. We were worried about Joe Burrow, too. Jamar Chase plummeted in fantasy drafts because people were worried about Joe Burrow's.
That's all you have to go on. No, he's been awesome. And the comments he made were sort of crazy comments. So, I mean, I get it. It's not like I don't think it's not like me saying that Justin Herbert's garbage coming out of college when he actually ends up being really good.
So Herbert beat out Justin Jefferson for Offensive Rookie of the Year, which totally fine. Herbert was amazing. None of these quarterbacks have done what Herbert did. Last year, via our very good friend, Josh Edwards, the best of CBS Sports, of course, he says that Jefferson threw 5 games last year, 19 catches, 371 yards, 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase, 23 catches, 456 yards, 5 touchdowns. This guy is an animal, man.
I don't disagree. He was awesome at LSU. I mean, he ran
so
a 4.3.
I'm trying to figure out he took a year off, had to figure out how to catch an NFL football. Would you try to think of the receivers you would trade for him?
Did you take Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase?
Breech would take Chase, obviously, because he's a homer.
Yeah, I would take Chase.
I would probably take Jefferson, but it's pretty close.
It's really close. And they played on the same team with Joe Burrow. Think about that.
I mean, Chase is so explosive.
Oh, boy.
He's big, but he's not even like physically, he's not even that big, but he is.
He's 6 feet. Right. He's not 6'4".
Correct.
Right. He's thick. He's not.
It's like Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is not big, but he plays big. That matters as a receiver.
The crazy thing is how much production Chase has provided for the obviously 159 yards today. There was another Bengals receiver over 35 yards. It was literally the Jamar Chase show.
I had a Joe Burrow DraftKings stack with Higgins and Boyd.
Oh no. Sorry, Brinson.
That's right. I had one that got a little frisky in the Millie Maker with Chase and a couple other guys.
And Geno Smith.
No, it was Dak, Kadarius Toney, and CeeDee Lamb, and Cooper and Chase.
By the way, if Brinson ever wins the Millionaire Maker, that will be the day he doesn't show up for the show, so you'll know he won.
Well, no, I will. Oh no, I'll show up early for the show
for the first time ever.
Exactly. I'll be peacocking. Really quickly, if I can find it here on, I almost got it right here. Yeah, this easily navigable site. They've taken off Offensive Rookie of the Year. What would you make Jamar Chase Offensive Rookie of the Year right now?
Like plus 150.
I think that's probably a good number, but I bet it's like 3-1 because of the quarterbacks, and I think it's a good bet.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think Breech is closer. None of these quarterbacks are winning it.
No, but I say they won't make the line short. They won't make the line that short because then you have to make the quarterback lines like 3-1 or 4-1, and they're worried they'll get burned on that end because quarterback
they get burned on that end.
Obviously, we're not talking about the Bills-Chiefs game, but hypothetically speaking, there is a torrential downpour happening in Kansas City right now. So anyway, Jamar Chase, if you can find him, I would say better than plus 250 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Bet that. He is an animal. As long as Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt, he's going to put up huge stats.
Don't jinx it, Brinson. He's in the hospital. Hit throat contusion.
So he got a little boo-boo in his throat.
Had 2 throat contusions on Sunday, which is sort of weird since I'd never heard of throat contusions until Sunday. Breech, how are you feeling after that loss in terms of where the Bengals stand after 5 games? They're 3-2. The Ravens play on Monday night, so they're in second place in the division.
I am thrilled. I was hoping that game would be close. It's a good measuring stick game for the Bengals. They could have won it. They maybe should have won it, but they didn't.
They definitely should have won it.
But if you look at their upcoming schedule, they play the Lions and the Jets in 2 of their next 3 games. You feel really good about those. And now it doesn't sound so crazy to think that maybe they could upset the Ravens. So a lot of their games on their schedule that maybe didn't seem winnable before now do seem winnable because they're playing well against good teams.
Their defense is really, really good. Where I'm sort of not a lot concerned, and you mentioned this during the game, we haven't talked about Joe Burrow cleaning his own clock when he ran the ball and didn't slide 5 yards short of the sticks and got his head driven to
He's got a lot of Carson Wentz in him.
What?
Got to slide.
So that's somewhat concerning because he's tough. I get all that, but it doesn't make sense that Carson Wentz it up as Brinson notes. And also, the first interception wasn't great either. He threw one down the sidelines on the run. If he had Justin Herbert's arm, it's probably more likely to be completed. Either way, throw it out of bounds. And then the second interception was a miscommunication and just an absolute disaster. First play of the overtime. Where are you on Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I mean, he's been making some throws that you expect from a second-year quarterback, but you can't have those. You can't throw dumb interceptions. The Packers got a quick field goal after the first one, and when you lose by 3 points, that's kind of a big deal. And especially when his first interception happened on their first possession of the second half, you're down 16-14. If you just go drive down the field and get a field goal, all of a sudden you're ahead. And this is a game where the Bengals never had the lead, so getting that kind of just leading the Packers in the second half is something that kind of mentally puts you over. But they never got there because they're making dumb mistakes. The Bengals.
All right. We're not going to talk about the game that's happening, but I mean, goodness gracious.
Don't stop it.
All right. We're going to keep going. Let's move to the next game.
Packers have won the division. That division's done.
Over.
Division. I hope the Vikings are next so we can. No, Chargers Browns next.
Oh, I love that game.
My goodness,
that game was drunk as hell. I think Kevin Harlan might have said this game is drunk.
You know what that game is for me, and you can get the score in a second. But just quickly, I was watching this thing. This
Chargers,
is what
47, Browns 42.
This is what the NFL is supposed to look like when you have two brainiacs going against each other. And you mentioned haymakers to start the game, to start the podcast, just punching each other in the face. No one's going down. It was awesome to watch.
Okay, so Wilson, I have a question for you. When does the backlash against Brandon Staley being like a Twitter favorite start? Because it's going to have like people are going to be like, I mean, everyone knows these things. Everyone knows that like disruption is production.
Well, no one said it before. How come no one said it before if it's so obvious?
That's my thing. People were, so I tweeted out a video of him saying, look, we don't really worry about sacks. We worry about pressures and quarterback hits. And we want to worry about things that are consistent because over the long, he's not expressing some crazy wild view. What he's doing is articulating in a reasonable fashion what everyone who watches football thinks and wants coaches to think. Here's the difference. Like
everyone, this is common knowledge, just like when to go for it on fourth down, according to the
galaxy brain Sean McVay. It's amazing.
Well, like when to go for it on the chart is common knowledge. The difference is these guys who aren't Brandon Staley and Kevin Stefanski sort of wimp out when the rubber meets the road. Like when they're
Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury are not analytically inclined.
Well, and the other part of that is though sometimes these coaches wimp out because it bit them in the butt before. Well, guess what? Brandon Staley doesn't get bitten in the butt because they come through on all these fourth downs against the Browns. They went 3 for 3 on fourth down. So if it works for you every time, you're never going to second. You're just going to do it. I don't care if I'm on my own 40 or my own 30. If it's fourth and anything under 5 or 8, whatever, I'm going for it.
No matter where they're on the field, it doesn't matter. One thing I will say, defensive, the conservative.
If he fails like 4 times in a row at some point, maybe he'll start to soften his stance.
Yeah,
I don't think he will. I think he is so supremely motivated and prepared that sorry, Debo put up a funny question in youtube.com/pick6. Staley is defensive Sean McVay with an actual understanding of the analytical approach to how to improve your in-game management and play calling and to improve your win percentage when you are a professional football coach. It's crazy to watch. I mean, it's
awesome to watch.
It's awesome to watch. Stefanski,
you're not yelling at the television.
Yeah. He's like, there's no like debate, like, oh, maybe we should go and like huddling up. It's like, no, this is a very clear-cut go situation. Let's go.
Here's the only time I yelled at the television was when Austin Eckler was sort of dancing around the 1 yard line. He wanted to go down, and the Browns were so smart that they dragged him into the end zone at the end of the game to sort of set up an opportunity for the Browns to come back. But I will say one thing quickly. It was
like 2 nerds dancing off or something.
Yeah, it was 2 nerds with all the girls at the 8th grade dance standing on the sidelines, and they're having a nerd off dance.
We're like, what? What's the Carlton? Dude.
Yeah, the Carlton dance.
Breech, you probably know the Carlton, right? I can't ask Wilson. Hey, Wilson, you know the Carlton?
I do know the Carlton dance. There it is, Breech. Breech got the head shake.
Hey, if this is the Browns from Hugh Jackson, they're down 41-7 and they're pushing the other guy in because they don't know what they're doing. But no, this was such a smart defensive play on their part there.
Terrell Darrell, quickly. Terrell Darrell in the comments. YouTube makes a great point. Chargers GM should be getting some love too. So as should Andrew Berry, the Browns GM. Because here's the thing: if you
Tom
don't have
Telesco, by the way,
Tom Telesco for Los Angeles, if you don't have Justin,
ironically, by the way, Tom Telesco, you know who his mentor is, right?
If you don't have Justin Herbert on your team, and if you don't have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt as the running backs of your team, as Breech noted earlier, you're going to be a little more apprehensive about going forward on fourth down. So I think that helps inform their decisions. If you got Ben Roethlisberger back there, you might be less inclined to do so. Who is Tom Telesco's mentor, Brinson?
Well, I was asking y'all. I know who it is.
Phillip Rivers would be my guess.
No, that's Phillip Rivers, a quarterback, not a former GM. Yeah, you guys know? Do you guys know who? I find it kind of humorous. It's Bill Polian, who's not analytically inclined at all. But Telesco doesn't like swapping around on the draft board. He likes sitting where he is, and he doesn't really talk about who he wants to take. He didn't make any noise about Bosa being their guy when they took him. I believe it was third. Because they were worried that somebody was going to jump them and take Bosa. Then the next year, Mike Williams, first-round pick. Derwin James the year after that. Jerry Tillery, who's playing pretty good football this year. Justin Herbert, and then Rashawn Slater. Holy crap. What a run of first-round picks.
By the way, Rashawn Slater told the running backs during Sunday's game to quit helping with chip blocks on Myles Garrett because he would rather manhandle him one-on-one. And Mitchell Schwartz, who used to play for the Chiefs, actually tweeted that sometimes it doesn't help you as a tackle when that happens. But just to hear Rashawn Slater as a rookie say that is pretty impressive.
Slater's a man child. He stoned Chase Young at when Northwestern versus Ohio State, and then again Chargers versus Washington. He's a beast. And then you look at the second round picks too for him. Kenneth Murray was a first round pick.
Yeah, traded for him.
Jr. Josh Palmer looks good. Sorry, I got distracted.
Josh Palmer's a third rounder.
No, I'm just listing later round picks.
Oh, okay.
Well, Farsland, fine. Dan Feeney, friend of the podcast. Hunter Henry, now in New England, but second round pick. Anyway, yes, Tom Telesco has done a good job building this roster, and so has Andrew Berry, to Wilson's point. These are, I think, the Chargers and the Browns, two of the more bad luck franchises over the last 20 years, have stable organizational functions and are starting to build towards success.
And
that game was drunk and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, there was not a lot of defense, obviously, by the score, but you look at the stat sheet, and Njoku had his longest catch was 71 yards. That went for a touchdown. Donovan Peoples-Jones had a 42-yarder. Then you look on the Chargers side, Mike Williams, a 72-yarder, Keenan Allen, 37, Guyton, 21, Parham, 22. He scored a touchdown. Jared Cook, 29. So defense wasn't there, but the offense, there were no turnovers in this game either, Breech.
Yes, it's funny you mentioned that because the Browns are the first team in NFL history to score 40 or more points and not turn the ball over a single time and lose the game. In Super Bowl era, teams had been 401 and 0.
401 and 0?
401 and 0.
Yeah, I'm saying 401 and 0.
And 0, yes.
That's insane.
Until now.
There's also like a variation of that stat where they're the only team ever to have a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, score 40 points and lose the game, which look, the Browns' 2 losses this year, tough luck. Pistons Jordan lost to the Chiefs early. And this crazy shootout against the Chargers. Browns are legit. Chargers are legit.
What are you making a face for, Breech?
Because I just want to say one thing about how the end of the game.
With 2 games, go ahead.
The end of the game went down for the Browns. It was just like a disastrous fight. They had 90 seconds and they were like dinking and dunking. They didn't have any timeouts. And, Baker's out there throwing 5. He threw a 6-yard pass, a 3-yard pass, a 2-yard pass, all while the clock was still running. And then they get down to their 46-yard line and they run 4 straight plays from the 46-yard line and go deep on every single one. What are you doing? Get closer. If you throw a 10-yard pass, you don't have to throw a 54-yard Hail Mary. Now you'll need a 44-yard Hail Mary.
By the way, the get closer, that's at the very top of Freddie Kitch's play sheet. Number 1, get closer.
Well, you know what? Maybe for the final minute of games, Kevin Stefanski needs to borrow that play sheet because it was just the Browns were so smart in offense this whole game that this was just shocking to see such a mismanaged final. It was 90 seconds. Not like they had 30 seconds and no timeouts. They had 90 seconds to go get down and score a touchdown.
Yeah, and Browns fans that's the 90 seconds they were least happy about because everything prior to that was pretty much boilerplate analytics.
Well, they were also upset about a pass interference call.
Right. I mean, in terms of what the way Stefanski called the game.
It was just a crazy game. It was a crazy game between two up-and-coming AFC teams. It was fun as hell to watch. 80-plus points. Kevin Harlan's calling it. Everyone's losing their mind.
Fun fact. The final score is 47-42. Only the second time that's ever happened in NFL history.
I thought you were going to be Scorgani.
The only other time was last year between the Browns and Ravens.
Another fun fact.
Oh, Monday night with Lamar Jackson pooping?
Yep. The Browns have been involved in the only 2 47-42 games in NFL history.
Here's another fun fact.
Hold on. Before you leave this game, I need to get this in. Can you guys remind me?
Who drags this podcast out?
Can you guys remind me who predicted before the season that Justin Herbert was going to win MVP, which also means he has to win the division? Breech, I'll let you go first. Now we can go to your fun fact.
Now the dunk works because they're actually in first. Ryan tried to use that last week when they won first.
Guys, we're going to take a break.
Yes.
Even
Here we go.
I've had multiple people in the past 3 or 4 days ask me, how do you get Paramount Plus? It's easy. Actually, I don't know. You go to Paramount Plus. If you have a smart TV, download the Paramount Plus app, sign up. It's awesome. It's the only way to watch Champions League, only way to watch Europa. You get your local CBS NFL game. And, Yellowstone. It's the only place to watch Yellowstone. And Beavis and Butthead and RuPaul's Drag Race, Wilson, just to get your shows in there as well.
What's next?
I was like deep diving the 91 Detroit Pistons roster for some reason. I don't know why. So
Bill Lambier.
I mean, that's true. Vikings 19, Lions 17. This one.
The microwave.
What?
Who was the microwave? I can't remember his name. Vinny Johnson? Yes. Got it.
There you go.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know that I can keep watching this happen to the Lions. They forced a fumble off Alexander Madison.
37 seconds to go, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Vikings are running out the clock, being hyper conservative, going to punt it, play defense.
And also, wait, the Lions were down 16-6.
Yeah. It's
with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in this game.
Correct. It's over. Like, the game was never in question. They forced this fumble. They score a touchdown. They're going to tie it up with an extra point. But then Dan Campbell, who is my new, behind Brandon Staley, my new number 2 NFL coaching.
Who does number 2 work for?
Who does number 2 work for? You're Mike McCarthy if you're making Austin Powers references.
Ooh.
Ouch, you fat bastard.
Oh, my God.
Anywho, they go for 2, which is gigantic huevos on the road. Don't have need this. We need this for our team. We need this for our morale. And they go for 2 and they get it. And somehow Kirk freaking Vanilla Wafer Cousins goes
Vanilla Ice
and manages to set up a field goal that the Vikings hit to win the game. Do you want to hear what Dan Campbell had to say afterwards? Because it's tough. It's tough.
I'm gonna get emotional listening to it. I can't listen.
Right, let's see it. Let's see it.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
you know, you don't want that for them. So, but we'll be better for it, you know. And there again, credit Minnesota, but you know, we made the one mistake that cost us, you know, and so ultimately, you know, we didn't do enough to win, but I was proud of them, and I love the fight they have in them, and I love the grit.
The Lions are the first team. Sorry to steal your stat, Breech, but the first team in NFL history to lose on a field goal of 50-plus yards as time expires twice in one season. And the one before, as everyone knows, was the Justin Tucker, the 66 or 65?
66.
66, hits the crossbar and flips up in. This is the football gods are being unnecessarily a-holes.
And let me just put that in
Breech,
perspective.
before you go, let me point this out quickly because this is about you, and then you can speak. At 3:43 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, Breech says in our little chat, how is this Lions comeback happening? A big day for cat teams. So we know how to end for the Lions. He was referring to the Bengals, who were tied 22-22 at the time. And also at that time, the Jaguars are down 400 points. Go ahead, Breech.
And also, the Panthers were leading. So I think I started a cat collapse because they all lost. If you would have parlayed that all the cat teams were going to lose.
The Packers beat the Bengals. Oh my God.
The Lions ended up losing. And the thing was, the Lions weren't even winning at that point. Madison had just fumbled. And so they were still down 16-9. But I was like, oh my God, they might do this. And Jacksonville got stopped at the 1 yard line on a fourth. We'll talk about all that. But yeah, all the cat teams lost in an improbable fashion. But I was going to say, to put Brinson's stat in perspective that he just gave us, think about that. No team, the Lions are the only team to lose on multiple 50-yard field goals in a season as time expires twice. And that's over an entire season. The Lions have lost twice in 5 weeks on that. There's still room for this record to get to like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Like, it's insane that they've broken a season-long record in 5 weeks. That's what it comes down to. It's bad luck.
So just when you say over the course of 5 weeks, what you mean is twice in 3 weeks. like I said, they're basically getting, can you say nut punched? They're getting nut punched repeatedly. Robbie nut punches me all the time, so I guess.
And the thing is, like, a Vikings kicker making a 54-yard field goal is just as improbable as Justin Tucker hitting a 66-yard field goal. Like, they're both, they both shouldn't have happened, and they did, and the Lions lost.
I'm not overly impressed with the Vikings. I don't think their defense played better today.
Nor should you be.
Their offense was okay. Cousins, they are who they are.
I mean, they didn't have Dalvin Cook, so like you consider that
is 90% Dalvin Cook.
That's
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like I love Dalvin Cook, but Alexander Madison is very good. I guess I wonder, would Dan Campbell, if you gave him a good roster, would Dan Campbell win a bunch of games?
The Vikings will be 4-1. Yes, and here's the thing.
I mean, the Vikings, wouldn't they win a bunch of games?
We say it every week. The Texans play hard for David Culley. We'll talk about them in a second. The Lions play hard for Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's up there crying on the stand at the press conference for obvious reasons. He's trying to win football games. The Jaguars don't play hard for Urban Meyer, and we'll get to that too. So I think that's what I keep coming back to. If you're the owner,
slap him in the ass, though.
If you're the owner of the Lions or the Texans, you have to feel good, all things considered, despite the fact that you have a doo-doo roster, that they're getting the most out of these rosters. And I feel like if they were either Culley or Campbell were coaching the Vikings, for example, they would be much better. I know Mike Zimmer's frustrated at times, but what was the score? 16-6 late in the fourth quarter before things sort of got interesting. It was pretty. I mean, I was mad because the Vikings should have covered, and I picked them in, against the spread, and I'm still red hot. I'm glad you guys asked, but I mean, as we just said,
they're hot.
As we just said, talking about the Packers.
Don't jump on the Wilson bandwagon next week.
Do not.
Wait.
And we talked about the Lions. This was the Vikings' third game this season that ended on a field goal as time expired. They lost to the Bengals in overtime. They missed a kick against the Cardinals, and they hit this kick. So all of their games have been pretty crazy.
Yeah, and to Brinson's point, Madison ran for 113 yards. So, I mean, and Justin Jefferson had 124. So they should have won that game easily.
Yeah. The Vikings dominated it and then let them back in. It was very similar to Carolina and Philadelphia, I thought, except the outcome ended up being a little bit different.
Thanks to Breech.
Correct. Breech ruined the Cats. I hope that this Lions team keeps fighting for Dan Campbell because
I'm 100% sure they will.
It's enjoyable. I'm not either. I don't know how much more of this you can take. Dan Campbell's crying at press conferences.
By the way, Breech, you and the Bengals should be very concerned about playing the Lions.
No, I don't know. They might get him at the right time.
I don't know.
No, exactly what's going to happen is the Bengals will go up like 27-10. The Lions will come back and tie it 27-27, and then the Bengals will win on a walk-off safety.
Maybe.
That's how Dan Campbell hasn't lost on a walk-off safety yet. That's what's going to happen.
In overtime. No team
Plays
plays more.
NFC West in what was a surprisingly terrible game. The Arizona Cardinals remain undefeated. They beat the San Francisco 49ers 17-10. Trey Lance was, unfortunately for me, meh.
He was meh. That's right.
Meh. No, George Kittle didn't help.
Did not help.
Cardinals defense is good, I think, is my takeaway from this game.
Trey Lance threw an early interception. They just sort of was hyped up and overthrew it and it was picked off. And whatever, that happens. I'm not concerned about that. He will run your ass over, and they ran him a lot. And we see this a lot with these athletic quarterbacks. I don't have I got to pull up the game score, the stat sheet thing. But I remember watching the game going, I get it. You want to
carries 89 yards.
You want to use his athleticism, but my concern with him and Josh Allen and Kyler to a lesser extent, but Lamar Jackson, it's great until it's not great when these guys get hurt. But that's the offense you're running. 89 yards, as you mentioned, he was the leading rusher.
But 15 to 29 passing, not great.
Right. And I think the game plan, it appeared to be, was we're going to run the ball until we can't run anymore. And they were sort of having their way running the ball with Trey Lance, given his athleticism. But the problem is Kyler Murray's really good, and Rondale Moore is really, really good, and Dre Hopkins remains awesome.
They also missed on a couple of fourth downs where if they like fourth and shorts, where if they get those, it changes the dynamic of the game.
Isaiah Simmons stonewalled Trey Lance at the goal line.
Was there one specifically you'd like to talk about?
Oh, the Juszczyk one where he motioned his fullback under center and had him take a quarterback sneak. That is
too cute for your own good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the dad equivalent of that is. It's
just like you don't need like if you want to hand the ball off to him, that's fine. Like you don't need him under center taking a snap.
You don't need to motion him in under center and have him dive forward as the quarterback sneak. Kyle Juszczyk doesn't take snaps.
And by the way, it ain't Jimmy Garoppolo, it's Trey Lance. Just use Trey Lance.
I'm curious what you guys think about this. We mentioned it earlier with the 49ers holding penalties, but I felt like watching the game that the offensive line was still adjusting to a different type of quarterback and was maybe being a little more handsy with the defenders because they didn't know, whenever you go from like Jimmy Garoppolo is not mobile, and you go from Jimmy Garoppolo to a mobile quarterback like a Trey Lance, and all of a sudden you don't know what's going on behind you. You know what I'm saying? And so
I was thinking about that during the game too. And my other thought was, well, they've had training camp and they've had a week of practice because you were pretty sure Garoppolo wasn't going to play because of the calf injury. And at some point, if you're able to do it in Buffalo, if you're able to do it in Arizona to an extent, if you're able to do it in Baltimore, enough.
I've seen the shift from the week to week, like Jimmy G to Trey Lance from week 4 to week 5.
You get two holding calls, then quit holding. Now you understand.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I mean that's not an excuse. Yeah, you got to figure it out.
I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying that there were some bigger plays. I didn't think the 49ers did not look nearly as good as I hoped they would look. I think the Cardinals defense is really good, like better than anyone has thought it is. JJ Watt's he's not some elite pass rusher, but he's making a difference on the line.
34-year-old.
He's swatting balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Arizona's just good. I'm probably in the belief that they'll get in their own way at some point, or as we talk about, Kyler's shoulder will be a problem.
I think Kyler has to stay healthy. Let me ask you guys this. You guys want to reevaluate how the first and last $1 million bet for the NFC West?
Yeah, I think it's a good call.
Which part?
I would. So I said that I would take the Rams first for $1 million. I would now take the Seahawks last for $1 million.
You're still doing that? You just saw the 49ers play.
Russell ain't coming back for like 2 months, man.
I am taking the Rams first.
Okay.
If you had to pick a last place team, Breech, who would you pick for $500,000?
Probably the Seahawks, just because Russell's out at least 3 games.
Oh!
What do you think?
Well,
who do you have last?
I'm saying San Francisco.
I mean, they have 3 one-score losses.
Yeah, they're okay. They're not great, but they're okay.
Against the a 4-1 Packers team,
I
a
wish
5-0
I'm upset that Breech scared me off the Rams, and then he bailed on the Rams.
I didn't bail on the Rams. I'm on the Rams. I just said I'd rather take
Where do
them
you
as
have the
first
Rams
place.
going? Who do you have going to the Super Bowl in the NFC?
The Packers.
So you bailed on the Rams. You screwed me out of the Rams, you freaking beehole.
Is
Hate you.
Cliff Kingsbury a better coach than Kyle Shanahan?
Stop it.
No, but is Kyle Shanahan a top 10 coach?
Now that's a fair question because
The use check thing has me.
I love Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great coach. I think he seems like a solid dude, whatever. But I've questioned his.
He's like being like super cute this year. I don't get it. He's like won't play Ayuk, won't play Sermon. Like why did you drafted Ayuk in the first round? You drafted Sermon in the third round. You know, Lance is your first round pick. You designed a game plan around him. Why are you not? What is happening? What is he doing? It's annoying.
And I question some of the personnel decisions if he's having the final call on him compared to other personnel decisions he could have made. But hey, we'll see. Maybe they.
How many losing seasons are you allowed to have before you lose your coaching genius?
He's been to a Super Bowl. Settle down, Zach Taylor. All right, let's.
What? Nobody's calling Zach Taylor a coaching genius.
But you know what? I'm mad because I looked at my pendings like 30 minutes ago, and I had a Zach Taylor Coach of the Year bet.
Oh my God!
He lost it today.
Cardinals, by the way, are good. If Taylor's healthy for a full season, the Cardinals are good. I think
he was sacked twice on Sunday.
And Hopkins is so nasty. Rydell Moore is great. All right, let's move on to the next game because we're so deep into this podcast. Cowboys. Oh. Actually, Bills, XX, Chiefs, XX. No, it's over. The game's over. They're showing shots to Mr. Trubisky. We can talk about it. The Bills went into Kansas City, just like the Chargers did, and flat out, the Chargers didn't smoke the Chiefs. The Bills smoked the Chiefs. It's 38-20 with a minute 25 left, and Josh Allen is taking knees. So the final score will be 38-20. Buffalo over Kansas City. What a statement. This is why I was Googling 90 Piston stats. What a statement game by Josh Allen of the Bills. This was really impressive. I thought Brian Dable, who has not had a fantastic season, I mean, it's not like
pretty good.
He's had a good one, but not like last year they came out like machine gun blow torching dudes left and right. This year's been good, but this game plan was really smart. Josh Allen was their leading rusher, 11 carries, 59 yards before the kneel downs with a touchdown. They used him a ton in that capacity early on, and it threw the Chiefs off. The Chiefs defense is hot garbage. Hot garbage.
No Chris Jones. No Fenton didn't play as well. So they were down some guys already.
But Dawson Knox had 4 targets, 3 catches, 117 yards, and a score. What if the Bills added another weapon at tight end?
Well, here's the thing about Dawson Knox. He came out. He played on the same team with DK Metcalf and AJ Brown at Ole Miss, but he was sort of underutilized. So you were sort of taking a flyer on him when you drafted him. I think it was a 3rd-round pick, but we knew he was athletic, and it took him a couple of years to get oriented, and now he feels like he's certainly a big part of what they do. But the issue for me, no Chris Jones, no Rashad Fenton wasn't there. Daniel Sorensen had a tough afternoon as well because he gave up 2 big pass plays. One was the Dawson Knox home run. I think that was a 53-yarder. He had a couple big plays that ended up being a touchdown in the first half that sort of set up how the second half was a blowout. But I will say this, Breech, of the 3 of us on this podcast, 2 of us picked the Bills to win this game, and one of them isn't named Brinson.
And not coincidentally, guess who got out of their seat while we talked about this, so we didn't have to rub it in his face that he picked the Chiefs to win for some. I thought this was obvious. It just seemed like the Bills are just such a better all-around team right now. I think we even mentioned it, or maybe me and Brinson mentioned it on the Picks podcast last week, was that, look, the offenses you can say are about even. They weren't even tonight, but overall, I feel like they are. But the defenses are so far apart. The Bills are so much better defensively right now that it didn't feel like this was a game that the Chiefs were going to be able to keep it close, and they didn't. And you know what? I think we saw Patrick Mahomes play one of the worst games of his career. I know the pick six bounced off Tyreek Hill's hands, but there were, I mean, he threw 19 incompletions. You don't see Patrick Mahomes throw 19 incompletions too often. And obviously, the Chiefs are only going to go as far as Mahomes takes them. If he has a bad game, they're going to get beat up like this because their defense, there's no margin of error for that offense. If they do not get scores, this team has to win shootouts because their defense can't stop anyone. And if the offense isn't scoring points, this is what happens. You lose by 18 to the Bills.
So the first drive was Josh Allen literally running down their throats. They didn't have an answer for Josh Allen, RPO quarterback, and he scored. But here's the thing. He finished 11 for 59 in terms of rushing yards. Patrick Mahomes had more rushing yards. That tells you exactly where that offense was. Clyde Edwards-Helaire left with a lower leg injury. And that Patrick Mahomes passing stat line, 33 for 54 for 272, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's a Big Ben passing line when you lose by 15 points. So the questions start with the defense, and that's where they end. And if Patrick Mahomes isn't on, and if guys are making mistakes like Tyreek Hill did on the tip pick six that you mentioned, Breech, you're going to lose football games, especially against a Bills team that is actually better on paper. And Brinson, while you stepped away, we were making fun of you because of the three of us, you're the only one that picked the Chiefs to win this game.
I know, mistake. Not happy about it. I had to tinkle and make a cocktail. Also, Wilson. Are you guys going to make fun of Wilson? I want to see Wilson. What's Wilson doing, guys? What's Wilson doing? YouTube commenters. What do you think he's doing, Breech?
I'm going to say that
Actually, Wilson is the fastest urinator on the planet. It's a little weird.
I mean,
he's going to sit there for 50 minutes. He might show back up in 30 seconds.
He's got a lot of practice.
Yeah.
He goes like every 10 minutes.
I think the biggest takeaway for me from this game is that, and coming into it, the Bills were the number one ranked defense in DVOA. Like they have been a good defense every year under Sean McVay. Excuse me, Sean McDermott.
Too many Seans.
Too many Seans. It's very annoying. It's like too many Wills when I was in high school. McDermott's a good defensive coach, and he has a track record of this. He was a good defensive coach in Carolina. He was really a good defensive coach in Philly before he was fired for Juan Castillo. But last year was sort of an anomaly, and I think you can point to it as the COVID year where this defense just sort of slipped for one random reason or another, and they thought they were too light in the box. They needed more big bodies. Look how fast that was. They need more big bodies in the trenches. So they draft Rousseau and they draft Boogie Basham. And this defense is really good. And Josh Allen is dialed back in. And I've never felt better about my Bills over 10.5 wins pick.
I have never felt better about my Bills Super Bowl pick.
You people who watch this show and listen to the show are ghouls. I love all of you, but I hate all of you. Like, I go and take a leak and make a cocktail, and I'm dialing Hair Club for Men and like shaving my back to pay my booking. And Wilson is solving malaria and like
curing cancer
out of a tree,
adopting orphan cats.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Thank you for all the kind comments. This is what happens when karma.
I mean, you're not wrong. Wilson's
Here's the other thing. I know, I'm great. What are you going to do? Here's the other thing. Josh Allen was 7 of 14 at halftime in terms of passing. He only finished 15 of 26. It didn't feel that way. It felt like he was dominating, along with the rest of that offense, a terrible Chiefs defense. And when, as we've noted, Patrick Mahomes struggles, and even a little struggle is a problem when your defense can't get off the field, it's going to be amplified to the score of a 38-20 ass beaten at home. I know there was the hour rain delay.
That rain delay didn't matter. That game was probably over before the rain delay.
Here's the thing, though, and they noted about this when they came out after the half. The Chiefs were in a big, comfortable locker room. The Bills were sitting in the hallway because it was so hot in their little tiny locker room.
Sean McDermott came out and got like Michelle Tafoya ran into him. It was like, "Hey, Sean, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?" He's like, "Well, I'm only out here because it's sweaty as hell in our tiny locker room." I thought that there, it was kind of a grind along game. There was not it ended up going over because at 58 points scored, unfortunately for some of us. But there was not, it was like a very slow second half, or it was a slow first half. And then all of a sudden Josh Allen was just throwing bombs down the field. Like the Bills look closer to the Super Bowl winning Chiefs than the Chiefs do.
Well, it's just weird because when you see the Chiefs, you just always expect them to be able to come back. Like there was,
Correct.
I don't think any of us thought. I never really thought there was a chance the Chiefs were going to lose until the pick six that turned the game from 24-13 Buffalo to 31-13 Buffalo. And after that, it was like they're going to lose. Like you're not, I don't care who you are. You're down 18 in the fourth quarter. You're not coming back for the most part. Not playing like they had played for the earlier three quarters, and so just to see them get dominated like that at home. A lot of questions about the Chiefs. Like, it feels like the Chargers are the best team in the AFC West. We talked about that last week. I think two of us said the Chargers. One person said the Chiefs.
I'm sorry. I took the Chiefs.
But, I mean, Brinson, are you worried that, what do you think? Are you worried there's a chance they might not make the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm panicking, Breech. Fortunately, my Bills over 10.5 was my favorite bet of the entire lead up to the preseason. I loved it. I said that Bills minus 155 was a great bet to win the division. This team is really good. Sean McDermott is a top 10.
Yeah.
5?
Remember when Blank used to yell at me because I said Sean McDermott was a good coach?
Yes, because he couldn't let go of that Nate Peterson thing.
Let me ask you this:
Sean
would you rather have
great coach?
If you're coaching the Jaguars, would you rather have Sean McDermott or Kyle Shanahan?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I know who I'm taking.
My answer will depend on because I think it's very important when you look at the Bills that Sean McDermott was hired away from Carolina. And then the next year, or I guess it was 6 months later, or whatever it was, he brought Brandon Beane from Carolina. And Brandon Beane was considered the next guy down here to take over the front office. But Gettleman was entrenched, and Beane had been there before Gettleman. It was there when Gettleman got there.
It's a package deal. McDermott and Beane, and then
but I'm saying it's very similar. Sorry, I'm saying it's very similar to Pete Carroll and John Schneider. McDermott got hired and said, here's my plan. I want to go through this draft with Doug Whaley. I want to turn him into my scapegoat. I want to fire him. And then I want to hire Brandon Beane. And we're going to build a culture, and we're going to build this roster the right way. And they've built it perfectly.
The Lions tried the same thing, and it blew up in their face when they got rid of my guy.
No, but I mean, there's too many forces messing with stuff. The Bills roster, I don't think it's the best roster. It's the most not just consistent or –
it fits the personality of the coaches and the
most well-rounded. That's it, Breech. It's the most well-rounded roster in the AFC. The only team I think that can compare to it is the Bucs.
So, are you going to answer my question or not?
I didn't hear what the question was.
Breech, if you're coaching the Jaguars, do you want Sean McDermott or Kyle Shanahan?
Probably Shanahan. Is it the as they're constructed right now?
Yeah. Actually,
if I have Trevor Lawrence, I probably want Shanahan.
No, I want McDermott because McDermott builds this. McDermott is an Andy Reid disciple, and by the way, we don't talk about the fact that McDermott was fired by Andy Reid and replaced by. Do you remember?
Was it Juan Castillo,
the offensive line coach?
Yeah.
He fired his defensive coordinator and replaced his defensive coordinator with an offensive line coach.
Juan Castillo actually is I think he's the line coach for the Bears now.
Yeah, but he's not a defensive coordinator, is my point.
Well, clearly, he probably had some defensive background. Didn't work out. I mean,
it was the dream team. It was the Vince Young dream team.
Yeah, I think Louis Riddick was in the front office then.
It may have been.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andy Reid got fired after that. Worked out well for him. My point being, Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane have done a very good job in Buffalo, and this feels like a turn the corner moment. You beat the Pistons.
They were up 9-0 last year in the AFC Championship game, too. I feel like that was the one game last year where Josh Allen didn't play well. I know what you're saying, but I feel pretty good about this team, and that's why my Super Bowl prediction of Bills over Packers still looks fantastic.
No, my point being is that all of a sudden Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Chiefs are wounded and mortal. They've lost to the Ravens. Right. They've lost to the Bills. The Browns had them dead to rights. This is a team that is really, really good because they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Andy Reid, and they have all these weapons. But their defense sucks right now.
The Chiefs have the same record as the Steelers. Think about that.
Yikes. Yeah, correct. Okay, have we covered this?
Oh, here we go. Yes,
Oh boy.
Oh, wow, they're tied. And by they, I mean the Chiefs and the Chargers are both plus 120 to win the division right now.
Now, what some people may not realize is, fortunately, I won't have to worry about shaving my hair plugs until January to pay off this bet that I made on the Chiefs to win the division.
Ouch.
Can't wait to see the hair plugs go.
Oh!
I'm sort of surprised that the Broncos are above the Raiders. I don't get that.
Neither one of those teams will win the division. They're not good. Carr got hurt today, too.
He came back.
They lost to
The Bills are averaging 39 points per game in their last four games.
The Bills
That's
are about
insane.
to get on. The Bills are about to get on a tear.
I can't believe the Chargers are even with the Chiefs, and the Chargers have a 2-game lead and already have a win over them. That's insane.
I don't know if anyone has this bet available out in the market, but can you bet on who will be the number 1 seed in the AFC? Let's say, so who would be our contestants here? It would be Bills, Chiefs.
No one, because I'm only betting on the Bills, so there's no other
No,
contestants.
but I don't think the Bills would be minus money. I think it'd be like plus 175 or something. And I would be
Bills, Chiefs, Ravens is probably it. No, sorry. I'll put the Browns in there, even though the Browns are 3-3.
Chargers.
Chargers. My
Oh,
point is, if you could get plus money on the Bills being the number 1 seed in the AFC, I would be very interested in betting on that.
yeah, because the Chargers got to play the Chiefs again.
The Bills have the tiebreaker on the Chiefs.
Ravens have, the Breech is convinced that the Bengals are going to beat them. The Browns and the Ravens are in the same division. And the AFC South is not in this conversation.
Current MVP odds, Josh Allen has the highest.
Where's my guy, Justin?
Your
Herbert?
guy is 4th behind Kyler Murray and Dak Prescott.
That's right where it should be. What are the numbers?
Googling stuff, Breach. Why don't you Google and see what our preseason MVP picks were on our on CBS Sports?
Well, yours was Stafford, his was Herbert, and mine was
No. That was a bold prediction.
mine was Josh Allen.
Picks. Oh baby, Josh Allen. Wait, where's Josh?
Oh, I love it.
5-1. I would bet Josh Allen.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, he's playing his ass off. Herbert's playing great too.
Yeah, but if Herbert wins that division,
Mahomes 10-1 to that. Mahomes hadn't been 10-1 to win MVP in it's been a hot minute, I think. It's Derrick Henry.
Jalen Hurts.
Out here.
Only person Devo's gonna make a lot of money when Jalen Hurts wins it.
Brinson, I Googled it. We both said Josh Allen. Are you happy?
You said Josh Allen?
Yeah, I said Josh
You're
Allen. That
cool.
was my
You're
bold prediction
cool.
and my regular prediction.
I cannot believe you got me off the Rams. If this were a family podcast,
I was
would
secretly
call
on the
you-
Bills the whole time. I used you.
You spent the entire offseason like
What?
what?
You said shh. I thought you were gonna say the bad shh.
No. Breach spent the entire offseason getting me off the Rams and then bailed on the Rams completely.
Well, that's your fault for getting duped.
I have the Rams
Yeah, I'm mad about it.
in the
I
NFC title game.
got scammed.
You got scammed.
It
Breach,
happens.
Robbie's,
It happens.
Breach is definitely a telemarketer who sells insurance to old people.
Robbie's like big into
It's very lucrative, Ryan.
Robbie's big into scamming right now. He goes, "What's your password for your Gmail?" It's like, I'm not telling you. He goes, "No, I need it for a school thing." I gave it to him. He goes, "You got scammed, idiot." That's fair enough.
Yeah, if you get
Speaking
scammed by
of
7-year-old, you're definitely getting scammed by Breach.
Speaking of scammed, we thought that Mike McCarthy had scammed Jerry Jones. Turns out he may not have. The Cowboys are awesome. 44-20 over the New York Giants. That's the victory for the Cowboys. It really was more like 37-20. We're going to take 7 points away because that pick six of Mike Glennon didn't happen. Mike Glennon played fantastic. Excellent game from my boy in back of Daniel Jones, who we hope is okay. Did not look good when he was carted off with a concussion. I will ask you this, Breach, or I will ask you this, Breach bot. Dallas is the blank. Oh, get out of here, Devo. Dallas is the blank best team in the NFC.
Oh my God. Leave that up to Devo so I can take a picture and send it to Blanc.
Breach bot 3000 as going full Breach bot. I think the Cowboys are the best team in the NFC. You know what? When I said 2 weeks ago they were number 3, you guys laughed at me. You sat here and you made me rank all of them.
Number 3?
I had them at number 3 2 weeks ago when they were 2-1, and you guys weren't sold on. You guys said probably top 6, easy, but not top 3. And now I think they're the best team in the NFC. That's it. I said it.
You said best team in the NFC.
And you said what do I think they're in the NFC, right? And I think
currently, as of just to check the time here, 12:51 a.m. on Monday, October 11th, you believe the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFC.
yes.
Ahead of, to be clear, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defending Super Bowl champions with Tom Brady.
Buccaneers defense is way too many holes.
Okay. Wilson.
Yeah.
You're too busy tweeting. You would you please engage with us? It's hurtful to our relationship that you spend all this time on your.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
It's awesome every time.
Please watch YouTube so you can see Debo just, what'd you call it? Nut punching? Brinson all over the place.
We close this and let's do the podcast. It's an hour and 4 minutes in. You're trying to do shenanigans. I'll tell you what, Debo, I will derail this thing. We'll be here for 3 hours.
Who's that reflect poorly on?
I dare you.
Yes, exactly.
Debo, we have like 18 games to get to.
What does derailing entail?
I don't know. I'll just do it.
Filibustering.
You don't think I'll derail this thing?
I believe it.
We'll be 2.5 hours in, and we won't have covered 6 games.
My goodness.
I dare you. No, we won't really do that. Anyway, Wilson.
Yes.
As my wife likes to say, could you please look at me and put down your phone?
I get that too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What do you got?
Breech thinks the Cowboys are the best team in the NFC. Agree or disagree?
No, of course that's insane. They're playing really well, but I think
it's a good hot take.
Here's the thing, like
they're playing great.
Week 1, they could have conceivably and arguably beat the Buccaneers. I would imagine on neutral field, you would take the Cowboys over the Cardinals. Trevon Diggs is playing absolutely out of his mind. The Packers, you have some reservations after week 1.
I'm booing YouTube commenters, not you.
You have reservations after, the Bengals game that came down to the wire. They probably should have lost. So I don't hate it. I probably have the Cowboys 3rd after the Bucs and the Cardinals. But again,
ahead of the Packers.
I think you have to give first of all, out of general respect that we're 5 weeks into the season and the Cardinals are undefeated, they have to be 1. So your thesis based on the record is stupid.
So based on your thesis, the Steelers were the best team going into week 12 last year?
Correct.
They were 11-0. What do you want? I mean,
I want a team that's good.
You're a Bengals fan. You don't know about teams that are good. Look, the Cardinals are 1 because they're undefeated 5 weeks in the season. I will defer to the Bucs as well. I will also defer to I tried to do this over text with some friends earlier. I was like, I'll take the Rams too. They're like, you're taking the Rams or the Cowboys? The Cowboys are awesome. I don't know what the hell is happening. First of all, Mike McCarthy has delegated everything to Kellen Moore, and that offense is cooking with gas. Dak Prescott is completely locked in and knows exactly he looks so comfortable on the field and knows exactly what he's doing on every single play and never panics. And then Dan Quinn, who comes from Seattle and then went to Atlanta and ran this cover 3 stuff for 15, 20 years, is all of a sudden just running man. Like he's completely changed his scheme. Trevon Diggs is Defensive Player of the Year 5 weeks in. Micah Parsons is Defensive Rookie of the Year. This Cowboys team is really good, but they won't win a Super Bowl because Mike McCarthy will kick a short field goal in the playoffs.
By the way, Daniel Jones got hurt trying to rush for a touchdown. It was
that was not
Jabril Cox, the rookie out of LSU transfer, hit him. It was a clean tackle. It was helmet to helmet. But shout out to Jerron Kearse. If you watch the replay, Daniel Jones gets up, he stumbles, it looks like he's going to fall down. Kearse, the defensive back for the Cowboys, notices that he actually runs towards Daniel Jones to try to help him. And that was awesome sportsmanship. Just want to put that out there.
That was a not a cool. I mean, I love my boy Mike Glennon, a punter who got into the football game, but that was not a fun moment for Daniel Jones. And Saquon Barkley ruled out very quickly an accidental ankle injury,
as opposed to the intentional ones.
Well, I mean, but he didn't like suffer the ankle injury running with the football. It was
he just stepped on it. It may have been a teammate's ankle. He stepped on a foot and he just rolled it.
It was Kadarius Toney is incredible.
Yeah, imagine that. You throw the ball to him, he's actually pretty good.
He has the ball in his hands. He's electric. But he also punched somebody in the helmet, which is
that's a no-no.
Yeah. Kenny Golladay left with a knee injury. He had, of course, missed most of the preseason with a hamstring injury. That's a concern. This was the opposite of a Pyrrhic victory for the Giants. Very tough loss. They got routed by the Cowboys, and essentially all of their most important offensive players got hurt. So let's go to the other side of the NFC East, where the Eagles The Eagles got their asses kicked by the Panthers for 55 minutes and somehow walked out of Charlotte with a 21-18 win. Debo, are you happy with the win?
Yeah, I'm happy with the win. I would not feel great if I was a Panthers fan because there's no reason that the Eagles really should have won that game. Sam Darnold was looking like Jets Sam Darnold for a lot of that day. But, yeah, I'm thrilled with the win. I think
that's on the offensive line. Fletcher Cox and Vernon.
Hargrave,
yeah.
Javon, not Vernon.
Vernon, yeah.
They're not going anywhere, but I think it's a season-saving type victory in the sense that things could have really snowballed looking down a matchup on Thursday night with the Bucs, the defending world champions. You head into that potentially losing 4 straight, turn that into 5 straight. They're 2-3 now. You get past this Bucs game with a loss probably, but then things really start to open up. So they're not going anywhere, but I said 7 wins after that Cowboys loss a couple weeks ago. You guys thought I was crazy. I'm sticking to that, and I might bump it up to 8 for the Eagles.
Ooh.
Here's the thing, Debo. Tell me what you think about this, because I was just watching it on Red Zone, so I'd see like the first 45 minutes was Jalen Hurts running around and refusing to throw the ball or throwing the ball inaccurately.
Whatever you do, don't watch this game again.
I won't. Trust me.
It is horrible.
Ugly.
The whole time. It's
There
awful.
was the touchdown to Devonta Smith that I thought was a crappy call on whoever ran the pick. I didn't think that was a pick, but whatever. Other than that, there wasn't a lot to be excited about.
Greg Ward, and it was definitely a pick.
Greg Ward. It was not. He was running an out pattern in the defensive back.
I will say last week our guy Jay Jaw got called for one that I didn't think was. This week I thought Ward, I think that deserved to get called, and I think it's just bad coaching. But go ahead, Ryan.
Fair enough.
Bad coaching.
Where are you at on Jalen Hurts? Because I remain unimpressed for 3/4 of that game. He did make some plays at the end there.
Yeah, he was not good on Sunday, and he's been incapable of putting these good games together back to back is what you want to see from a quarterback. Still very early in his career, but I'm still, I think, a lot more hopeful about him as a quarterback than Nick Sirianni as a coach. I think ultimately, like, it comes down, Hargrave, Cox, Darius Slay had great games. It's going to come down. We're going to talk quarterback and coach. Hurts has these things, I think, that you want as a quarterback. They don't include deep touch or intermediate accuracy or getting the ball out on time. But, like, he has these intangibles where I still have faith in the fourth quarter. And when the play calling finally goes in his favor, he can tuck and run a little bit. I still have this belief in him. So he's been back and forth all season long and really throughout his career going back to last year when he replaced Wentz. He'll have these super good moments and then moments where you're like, he may not be a starter in this league. I still think it's a great season to give him this sort of chance. But Nick Sirianni is the issue for me. And like I said last week, I like giving coaches a little bit of time, but he seems outmatched. He's not putting Hurts in a good position. The discipline is bad. Decision-making, leadership, all that stuff, I think, can be questioned. And when we talk about these rookie head coaches, Brandon Staley in a class of his own, I think Dan Campbell probably below that because of how he has his guys fighting for him. But I don't think there's anything that Nick Sirianni does that separates him from someone like Urban Meyer or Arthur Smith or Robert Salah or David Culley. Like, he's on that bottom of the barrel with them. I wouldn't say he's the worst rookie head coach, but he's done nothing to separate himself.
This is the meanest thing you've ever said about another human being.
I know, right?
It's up there.
It really is.
You know, it's funny. Like, Debo is he's anti-establishment. Like, he'll say mean things about Sirianni. He'll say mean things about James Franklin, the Penn State head coach. But he's pro player. He's going to stick by his guys.
This is true.
I thought that. I mean, from my non-biased opinion, obviously,
you were all up in the Panthers business when they were 3-0. What's changed?
Nothing. They played the Cowboys and
Panthers are losing, so I'm off the bandwagon. Go ahead.
I want the Bucs to win the division. That's what I care about for my financial portfolio.
Wishy-washy.
I should have told you I want to win. I thought the Panthers defense played awesome, and that Hurts. It wasn't like Hurts was playing bad, but I do agree with Debo that Sirianni does. It's a little bit like Matt Nagy. Like, he doesn't have this plan designed for this quarterback with a very specific set of traits. Like, why are you not? So
right.
The first 2 or 3 drives against Atlanta in week 1, I was floored. It looked like Sirianni had designed this offense for Jalen Hurts, and they were going to do this and like run a bunch of RPOs and take play action and go up top to Rager and Smith, who were like vertical guys and explosive athletes. And it just like disappeared, and they were overwhelmed by the Panthers defense. But the Eagles defense was almost more overwhelming on the Panthers offensive line because Cox and Hargrave were just in Sam Darnold's kitchen the entire day. And every time the Panthers would make this game is over move and force a turnover, Sam Darnold would throw a terrible backbreaking pick. Does that seem fair?
Where are you at on Sam Darnold? Should the Panthers be looking for a quarterback, or are they going to roll?
Should David Tepper be yelling at his general manager tomorrow, like, get Deshaun Watson? I don't care how much it costs.
No, I think there's still TBD on. Remember, they guaranteed his fifth year option. So
still trade him.
I don't think that's going to work out well. And they traded for Gilmore. Debo, correct me if I'm wrong, but they dominated this game for 55 minutes. Like
I don't know. I mean, you give credit to the Panthers defense, and you did give credit to the Eagles defense, but the Eagles allowed 3 points after the half. Their defense allowed 16 points total. I don't think the second half was that much of a discrepancy.
Did you feel like the Eagles were going to win at any point before the 50-minute mark?
You know me, optimistic.
But realistically, did you think they were going to win?
No,
I did because I bet money on it.
Breech did bet on it. There was no way that it should have been a 9-point disadvantage heading into halftime. It was 15-6. Talking about something good from a kicker perspective, Jake Elliott bashed a 58-yarder heading in. Yeah, 58-yarder heading into half.
Too. Like that was a long field goal.
Exactly. It should have been 21-24-6 heading into half in the Panthers' advantage, and the Eagles aren't coming back from that one. They haven't come back from a disadvantage like this one in a couple of seasons. So yeah, it is definitely unexpected. And that's the thing about Hurts is he competes even when his touch is off and his accuracy is off. I still have this kind of blind faith in him at this point that he has these intangibles to lead a team and that they'll never be out of it.
From my point of view, it felt like the Panthers pooped their pants.
I'll take that as a opposing fan. When
3 interceptions and having a punt blocked, I think would qualify.
I didn't care if the Panthers won or lost. I picked the Panthers to win and cover, and I was shocked that they were in control of the game. And then there was a block punt late. When there was a field goal. Anyway, these two teams are middle feeders. Let's move on to some other middle feeders. The Steelers beat the Broncos 27-19.
Who's that for?
No, I'm just kidding. The Steelers aren't middle feeders; they're bottom feeders.
Same record as the Chiefs.
Do you mean dunk on the Chiefs?
Same
record as the Eagles.
I mean, Ryan, you got to apply the transitive property because the Steelers beat the Bills, who just beat the Chiefs. So
that's right, which is good news for Breech as well because the Bengals beat the Steelers.
This is one of my favorite bets of the week was the Steelers. It was there's only a couple chances left in your life for this. If you ever see a report in local Pittsburgh media where Big Ben is blaming the offensive coordinator and the head coach for his struggles, you better believe Big Ben's coming out slinging the next week. And he did. He came out, he looked good. And he's going to look like dog crap next week. That's fine. We're going to bet against the Steelers next week. But when you read Jerry Dulac, like headlines like, is Big Ben hamstrung by Matt Canada and Mike Tomlin? That's when you know that Big Ben thinks he's up against a wall. He's being pressured by the organization, and he's trying to send a message. And he sent a message. Now, they almost gagged this game away, but kudos to Big Ben for playing well.
Well, I mean, he's been whinging his whole career about little things that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is like you can if you.
I hear what you're saying, but my point is that he didn't throw the ball 85 times this game like he did the previous 4 games. He threw the ball 25 times. They actually ran the ball 36 times, which is the first time in 16 games that they run more than they passed. Also, the first time in 16 games that he rushed for over 100 yards.
But
now,
Matt sucks. I'm not trying to say he's good.
My point is that the offensive line played much better. They run blocked much better. They pass blocked much better, and that necessitated Roethlisberger not needing to throw the ball as many times as he did. The issue is, and I'm glad the offensive line is coming along as a young group. That's encouraging, but they're going to run the wheels off Najee Harris before the middle of the season. Like that guy must be sore from the time he gets home on Sunday evening until about Friday. And then they give him a day off and they roll his ass back out there and do the same thing again to him. He had 23 carries.
Have you seen the snap counts on Najee Harris?
Yeah, they're insane.
It's unprecedented. In NFL history, he's played.
He actually came out of the game
% of the snaps for the Steelers.
He came out of the game only because he had like an injury, and I hope he faked it because he needs to take a break. They don't need to. Like, it doesn't make sense to run him into the ground 6 weeks into his rookie season.
His carries are not actually out of control, only because the Steelers have been trailing and they've been throwing the ball to him. His touches are way up there, but it is like by far the highest snap count of any running back in football. Like the next highest is like 78%.
Yeah, they have Kalen Ballage and they have Benny Snell. They don't use them. They use them on
the next highest like running back in football is like 78%.
I understand. I'm just saying they have two other running backs on the roster that they refuse to use. They did use them Sunday just because Najee Harris tapped out because he probably wanted a break. He was exhausted. But now the Steelers in control of this game the whole time. They did, as you mentioned, they had a chance, the Broncos did, to score a touchdown and cut the lead to 6 and go for 2 as the game expired. For some reason, the Steelers had Cam Sutton was out there, second best corner, arguably their best corner. They had James Pierre. I can't remember something. Pierre he's like a first-year player. I don't think he's a rookie. Had him guarding Cortland Sutton for some reason. Cortland Sutton was, lighting him up. He did have the interception at the end of the game there. So there were still some questionable decisions there in terms of the coaching. But overall, I mean, you take the win. The Steelers had lost 3 straight games at Heinz Field, which is certainly not encouraging. So that they avoided the 4th straight. 2 teams going nowhere. Yeah. If you're going to press me on who's better, I don't even know. And it doesn't matter. The Steelers or the Broncos, who cares?
My buddy Newman texted me last week. He was like, we should bet the Broncos to miss the playoffs. It's plus money.
Oh, who bet them to make the playoffs?
No, I was saying they were 3-1, and you could have bet them to miss the playoffs at plus like 115. And that was the smart move because it's not a good football team. They just beat up some bad teams. And the Steelers are in that weird like void where Ben played well today, but you can't
he played okay.
He played fine.
He threw the ball down the field. He had a little more time to throw. He wasn't throwing the ball in half a second. And that, again, goes back to the offensive line playing much better. He threw a deep pass to Deontay Johnson on the first touchdown drive. That's 2 weeks in a row they scored on the first drive. Had a long pass to Chase Claypool. So there's some encouraging signs there. But the whole idea is you have to be able to run the ball, and that starts with the offensive line, because if Ben throws the ball more than 25 times, you're probably in a bad situation.
What if you draft a running back in the first round? Breech, dive in on the Steelers if you want. Breech,
Wilson, I want him to enjoy his win. I don't need to dive in on it. I thought, I mean, the Steelers, all of a sudden, you're 2-3. If the Ravens lose Monday night, you're only 1 game out of first place. Not crazy.
They're not losing, the Ravens, number 1. And number 2, next week.
Carson Wentz is on the other side.
Next week, the Steelers are. I think we talked about this last week.
Sunday night, prime time.
They didn't flex out of that game, so now it's going to be Geno Smith versus the Big Bens for everyone to see.
Oh yeah. All right. So before we move on, Breech and I did the early odds mini podcast on Sunday night. Do you know what the line is for Geno Pittsburgh?
It's going to be -4.
That's Wilson's just dialed in. It is.
I'm really good at doing odds.
Everything about the spread.
Did you look ahead, or did you look ahead, or did you?
No, I'm pretty good at guessing like the lines. I usually get within half a point or so.
Maybe you should tail Wilson next week.
Wins over Wilson -4.
3-14.
What did you say about the -4?
Hammer Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. So Geno,
why is Geno Smith only catching 4 points?
Did you see how he played?
Yeah, that's like an adrenaline weird situation we get thrown in on Thursday night and
lightning in the bottle.
Yeah, you take TJ Watt all of a sudden is in your birdhouse and just.
Here's a question, and there was no answer when Geno Smith came to the game. But who's the backup quarterback in Seattle? Do we know?
Like after Geno?
Yeah, because there was only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster Thursday night. I don't know who they've signed or what their plan is in terms of promoting someone or whatever.
Probably have someone on their practice squad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's Pete Carroll. Who knows?
But if Russell's going to miss, have they officially put Russell on IR yet?
I don't think they have. I think
So
Adam Schefter said
if they put him on IR, they'll sign somebody else.
no. Yeah, right.
A roster spot.
Well, they need to hurry that up, I would imagine. They got a game in a week.
You know they could sign
Cam?
Ryan.
Nope.
You got to tell us.
Cam Newton.
Phillip.
Oh, Phillip ain't going. He said he's coaching. Actually, the high school football season's nearing its end, so maybe you could
They're close. Oh my God! What if Phil replaced Russ?
maybe you could telecoach.
Jeez, I'd have to retire from this podcast and just go live at some sort of resort where we just watch NC State quarterbacks play football.
Oh, that's a good one by Pick Six Podcast.
That
on
sounds
the
like a
YouTube channel.
nightmare.
Pick Six Podcast jokes on
I'm going to
YouTube.
call the social media team and tell them to take away Debo's login.
Maybe the Seahawks will trade for Mike Glennon.
All right, let's get done with this damn podcast. Bears 20, Raiders 9. I actually called this and it worked out well. The Raiders had no business being favored by 5.5 at this game. The Raiders aren't good. John Gruden had
I whipped on that
can I say John Gruden had racist emails from 10 years ago circulating? That feels fair, right?
Do you think that affected this? Because I don't know if it did or not.
I think that I always take the I don't take the Bill Belichick approach because I'm too spacey to do that. But I try to think, what would Bill Belichick think about X distraction? Bill Belichick would not like 10-year-old racist emails that he has to spend an extra, 3.5 hours or 10.5 hours dealing with over the course of the week. Whether it's responding to people, texting Bruce Allen and being like, "Shut your mouth," texting DeMar Smith and being like, "I'm sorry about that. I really apologize." Doing a press conference, all of that is an extra distraction that takes away time where you're preparing an offensive game plan. So just
Bill Belichick, I do remember when the Aaron Hernandez stuff, when he got arrested, it was like one sentence and that he would just refuse to answer it. Although you still have to sit there and take the questions and it's still a pain.
Talk to our lawyers.
Whatever that one sentence was is one sentence response.
But
Cincinnati.
But
we're on.
every minute you're spending dealing with something else is a minute you're not preparing for your job. And
that's true. But I mean, the emails came out Thursday night. Like most of your game plan's already installed.
My question is this: do you think
Urban Meyer?
Do you think the players, like the Raiders players, did it affect their preparation because they were angry, upset, sad, whatever?
I would say no. Most of them know Gruden from being on the, if they've never had a negative experience with Gruden, I don't think they're going to be overly offended by what happened. But if I'm the Raiders, I'm concerned that my offenses look like absolute garbage for 2 straight weeks.
Right.
After starting 3-0, I mean, this team was putting up 30 points per game the first 3 weeks, and they beat the Ravens, the Steelers, the Dolphins, and all of a sudden you're just
they beat who?
Dolphins.
Who the 3 teams you named? The Dolphins, the
Ravens, Steelers, Dolphins.
Yeah, 2 of those teams suck.
Steelers are 2-3.
I'm not ripping your point. I'm just saying that we thought that the Steelers and Dolphins were better than they actually are. I thought Mike Tirico had the best point about this. Because Tirico worked with Gruden for 7 years. I feel like 7 years you get to know a person, right?
Yeah, I've worked with you for 14 years, and it feels like 140. And I know you pretty well.
And I still know nothing about you.
Yeah, you can confirm I have hair plugs. So I thought Tirico was like, "Look, man, I know John Gruden pretty well. He more or less said on NBC, I will vouch for John Gruden." And I think that means something, right?
Yeah, I think so. And we were talking about this, texting back and forth on Countdown, ESPN Countdown. Randy Moss he was crying, he was upset. And the whole crew there, Hasselbeck and Teddy Bruschi and Rex Ryan, they were all pretty much came down on the side of John Gruden has to answer a lot of questions. And I get that, but I think Tirico made the point that, John Gruden's probably a lot of things, but I don't consider him and he said, I know him better than anyone in the league does, having spent 7 years with him. I don't think that his intentions were nefarious. I just think he said something stupid. And I also said, look, John Gruden came out and supported Carl Nassib when he said he was gay this summer. And there was no hesitation in his voice. And, 10 years ago, people are different than they are now. A lot of things have happened socially and on, things in terms
2
of,
years ago.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, the stuff that we texted each other, we'd all be having press conferences for the rest of our lives every day if some of that stuff came out.
Settle down here, pal. No, I agree. I mean, I think that the immediate context that it was taken in which he made fun of a physical.
It's a bad look.
Thank you.
There's no two ways around it. It's a terrible look.
You're from the South. I'm from the South. We you understand the connotation. I think we understand the connotation more than, you know what I'm saying? It's.
And when you say things like, I don't remember sending it, that also indicates that you probably do it a lot. It's sort of weird.
And it the first part of the email, he called him dumb R.S. Smith. It was the worst joke of all time. What are you doing?
That's something Breech would say.
It's dumb R.S. Smith.
Not about Demaris, but he would make someone's name be something stupid.
In Gruden's, I'm not even going to say in Gruden's fence. I'm not defending him.
On live
but if you say you don't remember a 15-word email from 10 years ago, I don't think that's necessarily Gruden lying.
I don't think he's lying either.
That's a good point. How many emails from the hours of 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. do you think that John Gruden and Bruce Allen have sent over the past 30 years?
Thousands.
Probably 7,000 emails.
But it'll be interesting if the Raiders, start that they were 3-0, and if this collapse continues, if Mark Davis is going to do something.
He's not going to do anything.
I don't think they'll do anything.
Nothing.
So if they lose to the Broncos and the Eagles, and then they're 3-4, is Gruden on the hot seat? What's happening?
No, he could lose out.
Okay.
Florio had a point on Sunday Night Football. Gruden wasn't working for an NFL team or in any capacity with the NFL when the email took place. Now,
but if you take that, if you sort of exaggerate to the extreme, that's like saying, well, I didn't murder the guy when I was working for the NFL. I did it when I was somewhere else. So, I mean, it depends on what your idea of punishment is. I don't mean
from a morality perspective. I mean from a HR perspective.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? You're not.
But Roger Goodell has been known to do things outside of the rule of law and, punish people for things that seem like an overreach. So usually players, not coaches.
Different franchise with a different owner. I think John Gruden might be on the hot seat, but Mark Davis loves John Gruden, so I think he's fine. Whether or not that's anyway.
But I think Breech's point is that
9 points against Justin Fields,
right,
which is the bigger problem.
Breech's point is that it doesn't matter what John Gruden emailed. This team is hot garbage.
Yes,
I said last week.
Yeah, that's on me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good for Justin Fields. He avoided what looked to be a pretty serious knee injury, came back, kept Andy Dalton off the field, much to Breech's dismay.
Very dismayed.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
I mean, he looked okay.
I think Justin Fields looks exactly like we should expect Justin Fields to look. Unpolished, high upside, not being utilized the way that he should. Why are they not?
Look, we're going to find a lot about Justin Fields because he hasn't really had to do anything the last 2 weeks because the Bears defense has been so good. They're only giving up 11.5 points a game in his 2 starts. So all he has to do is produce 2 touchdowns and they win. But coming up, they have the Packers, the Buccaneers, and the 49ers. So he's actually going to have to do something. And that's where we're going to find out, how good he is. All right, how good he can be.
Let's take a second break.
Ooh.
And we come back. We'll talk about the Patriots' thrilling victory over the Texans in Houston. So the Patriots are part of a second 22-22 tie. Breech actually did a bunch of research for us to find out how many times in 1 p.m. slates there have been multiple 22-22 ties. Breech, what did you find out?
Well, actually, Brinson, what's funny is that there have been 9 25-22 games in NFL history before this week. And we got 2.
I was completely messing with him.
I know you were, but you didn't know I had the stat.
He just reverse layupped you.
We got 2 on one Sunday. So literally, it only happened 9 times ever in NFL history. And then we get it in the Texans, Patriots, and Packers-Bengals games.
By the way, there's no way to know if Breech is lying because he lies so much about his whereabouts when he's out doing his serial killing. So he just made that up off the top of his head, and he did a fantastic job.
That is true. But I asked the question completely made up off the top of my head. And maybe we should take some time apart, guys. Anyway, I thought the turning point of this game was pretty obvious. David Culley trots out his kicker. Mute yourself if you're sniffing. David Culley trots out his kicker for a 56-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Up 7 points against Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, and this cobbled together offensive group that is not playing very well. The defense for the Patriots playing like ass. And why would you kick that field goal? Punt that. I'm not a punt guy, but punt that. Make Mac Jones go 90 yards on you. Don't give him a short field. And sure enough, literally 6 real-time minutes later, the Patriots were in the end zone. The game was tied. And sure enough, the Patriots win 25-22. This is, the Texans are terrible.
The funny, Culley's trying, like they went for it several times, fourth down and converted.
Lions.
What's that? Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But my point is that Culley went for it several times early in the game on fourth down. They converted. And at one point, they were up 22-9 in the third quarter. And it just seems like he can't get away from his old school coaching style. So, we'll kick the field goal instead of punting. Although I don't even know that's old school. That's just like a bad decision. So
50 Breech. What's the percentage on a 56-yard field goal?
I mean, it's not great. It depends who your kickers. Justin Tucker, it's a lot better than
it's
if
39%.
Let's say it's Garrett Gilbert.
39%.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
Garrett Gilbert has a 0% chance of hitting a 56-yard field goal.
What if it's Gilbert Godfrey? Gilbert Godfrey.
85%.
You punt that there. You punt that and make Mac Jones go 90 yards on you. You do not give him the chance to get a short field. I don't know if this matters. I mean, this would be a miserable loss for the Patriots. They're not a good team either.
I think the Texans.
Well, Brinson, here you're bearing the lead here. Here's why you don't kick a 56-yard field goal, because your kicker's been horrible. The Texans were absolute special teams disaster. Fairbairn missed 2 extra points in this game before he even got to try the 56-yard field goal. So they wouldn't even been in this position if he had made his extra points. So that was part of the issue. And then the Texans punter had a 0-yard punt in the third quarter because he kicked the ball off his own lineman and it ricocheted sideways for exactly 0 yards.
Hey, Breech, was your first thought, oh my God, pick it up and kick it again? Because that was my first thought.
It's amazing that the same situation almost came up twice, considering that we hadn't seen this ever. And then after that 0-yard punt, that gave New England the ball at the Texans 36. They literally didn't do anything. They didn't move any yards, and they ended up kicking a field goal. So now that 22-9 is 22-12, and then the missed field goal was a couple possessions later, and then this is when the game got tied, and it was just the special teams. You can't have a 0-yard punt, 2 missed extra points, and a dumb 56-yard field goal. That's it.
Because Davis Mills played out of his mind.
Yeah.
He was 21-29, 3 touchdowns, 312 yards. He actually outplayed, I think, Mac Jones for most of the game. And I don't think this Texans team's that bad. I think if Brandon Staley's coaching them or David Culley in the list of terrible coaches, first-year coaches isn't last, but he's replacement level or worse. He could be doing much better with the opportunities he's had in front of him. He's made some boneheaded decisions, and some of those he's admitted to publicly and apologized for. But I think there are a few more to add to the list now.
Davis Mills, one of only 2 rookie quarterbacks in NFL history to throw 3 or more touchdown passes against the Bill Belichick defense. Belichick as head coach. Russell Wilson was the other.
By the way, we always talk about Bill Belichick being awesome against these rookie quarterbacks, and the stat they gave during the game was a rookie quarterback hasn't beaten a Bill Belichick team since last year when Tua Tagovailoa did it. I was like, oh, so it's only been 8 months.
Washington did it before, and then Russell Wilson did it.
But 1-12 rookie quarterbacks are 1-12 in their last 13 games against Belichick. Zach Wilson lost this year. The Patriots beat the Chargers and Justin Herbert 45-0 last year. I mean, there's some strong wins in there just because
he lost.
If you patch for Survivor, you're feeling very good because you kind of stole one.
Yeah.
Moving along. This is a kind of a crazy game. Saints 33, Washington 22.
Started with the Jameis interception, as they all do.
Jameis looked, he had a fumble and a pick, but he started slinging the ball around. The Washington defense is horrendous. Did you see the Hail Mary at halftime?
Yeah. It was
they didn't even try.
Jump.
I think it felt like
jump.
It felt like all their feet were stuck in the ground, and Who caught it? I don't remember. Oh, it was Marquez Callaway caught it.
Yeah.
He was the one that timed his jump properly. But it's still, if you watch it when he caught it, it hit him in the chest and he sort of wrapped his arms around it. So no one high pointed it other than him. So yeah.
Look at this stat for the Debo has for the YouTube folks.
Hey, where did Drew Brees' hair go?
Yeah, he did. Where did he get his hair plugs? Like if you compare Drew Brees 2020 versus Jameis Winston's 2021, and again, you can watch this on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6. If you listen to this podcast, just go subscribe. You don't have to actually watch it, but subscribe. 3 and 2, both of them. Jameis 0.1 yards per attempt higher, 3 more touchdowns, same interceptions, and 6 points higher in the passer rating. Jameis is not an upgrade, right?
By the way, Taysom Hill he was concussed, had to leave the game. Here's the thing: if he had caught it, I get why the defensive back made the tackle. It was just it was unfortunate. Anyway, he's out, so I don't know who the backups. I think what's his name from Notre Dame, who they drafted, is Ian Book. But either way, it feels like Jameis has thrown more interceptions than Drew Brees, only because they're the most Jameis type interceptions ever, like crazy arm punts where he's falling backwards or whatever. But this stat line again feels like week 1 where they blew the doors off the Packers. He was only 15 of 30, 279, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not like he's throwing the ball 50 times a game and completing 75% of his passes. So Alvin Kamara had a big game. That certainly helps. 51 receiving yards, 71 rushing yards, touchdowns on both.
But the receiving touchdown was like it wasn't garbage time, but it was a little dump off from Jameis, and Washington's defense is.
I don't understand how that defense with the exact same players and even drafting a first round linebacker is immeasurably worse than they were a year ago.
No, not immeasurably. They were top 5 last year, and they're bottom 5 right now.
And not just the Hail Mary, they gave up a 72-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, they are terrible, and it doesn't. But like, if it were sort of a fluke blip where they were really good last year randomly because DC came in and then he moved on or something like that, that would make sense. It's Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera consistently has good defenses year over year, and this defense sucks. It's unbelievable.
Taylor Heineke wasn't good either. Like, I don't know. This is a terrible year for teams.
You know what we should do right now? We should just admit that we whiffed massively on the NFC East.
Yeah, I say it all the time. The
Cowboys are rolling in the division.
My 3 concerns about the Cowboys are Dak Prescott, the defense, and Mike McCarthy, and all of them are hitting home runs to varying degrees.
So yeah, Jameis. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't know if I buy into this offense that they're running in New Orleans. I think
it's not sustainable. It doesn't work. It only works every other week because it's the full Jameis Winston experience where he's garbage one week and then looks like an
better
MVP.
Stats than Drew Brees.
And Drew Brees wasn't great last year.
It's like.
Did they go to the playoffs last year?
It's like
you can get the playoffs with a bad quarterback.
Wilson, you're from North Carolina.
Correct.
Did you ride a go-kart as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Right. Do you remember when go-karts had governors?
Oh yeah, you should take them off.
Right. So for those that don't know, Breech, you know what a governor is?
Yeah, it's restricts your speed.
Correct.
Come on.
Jameis Winston on the Saints is just a go-kart with a governor. Sean Payton's like tampering down the speed a little bit, but he's still doing the same stuff, but it's less egregious. You know what I'm saying?
Right. When he was at Tampa Bay, he was a Yugo driving 110.
Exactly. I'll do whatever I want. And now go look at his next gen stats. You can't, if you go to his chart, you can't see where the 2 of the touchdowns land because they're so far down the field. But then he has it looks like a manic depressive built this chart, or like a bipolar person, which it's not sustainable. They cannot live like this on offense.
They cannot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right, but they're not winning the division, and the question becomes: are they going to they're going to be one of the 4 teams trying to get the final wild card spot? Yeah,
they're gonna grind to get in the playoffs. I would take the Saints over the Panthers for sure.
So it's going to be the Cowboys.
Tebow just messaged me. He said we should go to London. So let's close up the pod. We'll go to the flights. Go to London.
So quickly, Cowboys are winning the division. Cardinals or Rams are going to the playoffs. The Packers are winning the division, and then it's going to come down. And the Bucs are winning the division, so it'll come down to the Saints, the Panthers, the Seahawks or 49ers,
it's going to be the NFC West, and then the wild cards are going to be in melee.
Yeah, so I think they can sustain this enough to get into the playoff conversation and probably make the playoffs.
If I gave you Saints minus 125 to make the playoffs, would you bet it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, who else is going? The Bears, the Vikings, the Panthers.
I think it's Packers only in that division.
Seahawks.
Yeah, you got two.
I can see the Bears sneaking in.
Well, are you taking them over?
Maybe the Vikings. I could see the Vikings sneak in.
Are you taking either of those teams over the Saints? Is my question.
Maybe.
All right. So
Can't stand
three Miz games we're going to roll through here, starting with London. Falcons 27, Jets 20.
Meh.
I had forgotten what life. I had forgotten what life was like at 9:30 in the morning.
That feels like it was 3 days ago. It started at 8:30 a.m. for me, Brinson.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to eat breakfast during this podcast or after this podcast and during the first game we watched. I actually fell asleep on my couch trying to watch it. And I woke up and Kyle Pitts was in the end zone with the football. I was like, yes, I bet him first touchdown. Let's go. And
yeah, he finally had a breakout game. That was his first touchdown catch of his NFL career.
I-
Cordell Patterson had a concussion. They brought him back in. I don't know what the concussion protocol is anymore, but he's an important part of what they did because
It's different in England.
Correct. Anything goes down here, Wilson.
Oh my
They're
God.
Australian.
Yeah. You know where England is by any chance? It's not down anywhere.
You're South Korea, right?
Exactly. You know the capital of South Korea?
Seoul.
Seoul. There it is.
This game involves two teams that don't matter. Do you guys
Yikes.
want to spend more than 30 seconds on it?
Matt Ryan was awesome. Kyle Pitts was awesome.
Matt Ryan's playing well.
Zach Wilson was not.
Jets had a chance to win. Robert Saleh thought he might get his first win. He did not. I feel bad for him. Oh, he has his first win.
He actually won last week. That's fine.
Yeah, to get a second win. His first one in London, I should say. There you go. Yeah, Zach Wilson threw a terrible interception, and he's just got to quit doing it, but he's a rookie, and this year sort of really doesn't even matter. So live and learn, move on.
I think when you watch Zach Wilson play, you see the traits of a quarterback you want on your football team.
Zach Wilson leads the NFL in interceptions.
Athletically.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if he's the guy to run a Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, maybe is exactly right. I think that's the right response. Yeah, maybe.
The Bucs beat the pants off the Dolphins 45-17.
This spread was 10
44. How old is he?
45-17. The spread was 10, and I love 20. I mean, there's no way that the Dolphins, that offense, is going to have a chance.
Tom Brady clearly affected by the emotional issue, like clearly an emotional letdown from going to Foxborough and then going to beating.
Oh yeah,
he was throwing bombs all over the place. Like Gronk didn't play. It was the Mike Evans Antonio Brown show. The Dolphins are awful.
And again, and look, I get it because I was part of this crew. You could have had Justin Herbert.
Oh yeah, you can't. I don't think we can do
as bad as the Dolphins were, though. This was a 24-17 game going into the fourth quarter.
Yes, and it ended up being 45-17.
But
at no point did the Dolphins were they winning this game, Breech.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they kept it interesting for 3 quarters, which is a lot more than I think anyone thought they were going to do.
When it was 24-17, I thought, oh man, Tom Brady, they're going to feed Leonard Fournette and just get out of here with a win and not worry about the cover. And then Tom Brady went nuke bomb on the Dolphins.
First game in Tom Brady's career, his 21-year career, where he had 5 touchdown passes and 400 or more passing yards.
All right, so let me ask you this real quickly on Brady and the Bucs. I don't think the Dolphins matter for the AFC at all.
Yeah,
No, I mean, like,
you think?
Is that obvious or is that?
Yeah, they're terrible.
They won 10 games last year.
They're 1-4. No one thought they were winning 10 games this year.
They won 10 games because of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I want to look up Breech's playoff picks. You better not have him as a wild card, Breech.
The Dolphins are not in my.
No one
I can
thinks that.
promise you that.
People were picking the Dolphins to win the division.
Not me and Breech.
Bad pickers.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, when is Tua coming back? Do we know that?
Never.
They're trading him to
He's
second.
going to retire.
Jeez.
My question is this: do we think that what's happening with the Bucs? Because leading into the season, the discussion was,
Oh gosh.
What?
Debo put in Slack that the Dolphins' preseason win total was 9, which is insane that anyone would go over 9.
People were betting the over. People were betting the Dolphins to win.
They should listen to me and Breech because it was quite clear that with
I didn't like the Dolphins.
It was clear.
It was clear as
Don't make me a Dolphins guy. I'm out of the Dolphins.
you're trying to prop them up.
But the fact that you were ever in on the Dolphins.
I was saying
We're
that
done with
the
the
win
Dolphins.
total was huge and that they were like a sneaking up as the second favorite to win the division.
Why? Their quarterback is a huge question mark, and here we are.
Well, the quarterback's not healthy. My question, which is more relevant to the current 2021 NFL season, so the thing we talked about leading up to the season was that Tom Brady in the second half of the year, down the stretch, granted against bad defenses, and then through the playoffs was okay, but started to find his stride with AB, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Like the offense started getting rolling. Is there a chance that the Buccaneers are about to just unleash hell on people?
I think they're doing it. I mean,
what I'm saying, like, they have one loss, right?
Yeah.
What if you reset their over under for their win total this year? What would it be?
12.5.
I'll take the over.
I don't know what it was before though. That's just the wins over Wilson.
11.5.
Yeah.
For 17 games.
I'd probably
No,
take
no.
the under.
Yeah. So
12.5.
Well, what are you setting it at?
Do you think the Bucs are going 12-5?
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess that's why he's going under.
I'll take the over on 13.5.
You have to play him with fire.
Yeah, and don't forget, Brinson took the over on 9 wins for the Dolphins. So
You're such a liar.
Oh.
I mean,
no, I think you're right though about the Buccaneers because last year it took about 2 months to get acclimated to Bruce Arians' offense, and then they won 10 games in a row until they lost their first game this season, going back to the middle of last year. So yeah, I think they're absolutely on fire. Breech likes the Cowboys a little better, and that's fine too. I mean, that game was incredibly close in week 1, and I'm sure they'll play again at some point if these two teams keep going on their same trajectory. But yeah, I could absolutely see the Buccaneers winning every game by an average of 17 points going forward.
Okay, so I'm just curious about this. You're going to have to help me do some math here. Tom Brady, because I'm looking at Pro Football Reference, it's not updated for today's games.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady coming into today's games, 1356 passing yards. Today, Tom Brady went for, I believe,
411.
411. What's that number, Wilson?
That'll give you a cool 1767.
1767, said the man from Carnegie Mellon. How many games did he played? 5?
Yeah.
Divided by 5 is 353.4.
Dang.
Wait. How many passing yards does he have in the first 5 games of the season?
1767.
How many passing yards do you think he had in 2007 through 5 weeks?
2007.
AKA the nuclear, we're blitzing everyone to oblivion season.
1980.
No, he had less.
Wilson?
I'm going to say 1600.
1383.
Jeez.
By the way, do you know what he's on pace for?
How many touchdowns does he have? All right, hold on. Sorry, that's my fault. I should look that up.
He's on pace for 80 touchdowns.
How many touchdowns do you have today?
He's on pace for 6,000 yards.
Breech. You're supposed to guess, not just
That
do
was
the
my
math.
guess.
Let's say 6,000.
Oh, that's right. 6,007
See, I was wrong.
yards. He had 5 touchdowns today.
So he currently has 15. He has 15 touchdowns right now.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's going to win.
2007, actually had more, I think.
Yeah,
He had 16 touchdowns. Tom Brady, at age, whatever the hell he is, he may be a cyborg.
You're just now coming around on that?
No, but he's going to break his 2007 stats. Think of that.
Yeah,
And he hasn't played they played the Falcons once.
Would you be willing to do that and have to give up everything and just eat like, non-carb bland food for the last 20 years to be Tom Brady? Would you do that?
Yes, I would trade lives with Tom Brady.
Like you could never have beer. You could never have ice cream.
And you only eat quinoa.
You could only eat quinoa and, just bland food. I mean, that's a prison in a sort of way.
And you go to bed at 8:30 every night.
8:30.
So you can't be on the podcast.
That's not a selling point, Breech. I mean,
just to be clear, you're asking me if I would trade lives with Tom Brady.
but it requires an unbelievable amount of restraint. You can't slip up once. If you slip up once, then you become Freddie Kitchens.
Tebow's in full troll mode.
Well,
I've actually done the Tom Brady diet for like a week.
Well, what'd you look
And
like?
you were hospitalized because your body rejected it.
Exactly.
That's how, and yada yada yada. I got hair plugs.
Hey, that's part of the Tom Brady plan. Let me ask you this: would you rather have Tom Brady's weapons in 2007? Wes Welker, Randy Moss,
It's a good question.
Ben Watson, Dante Stallworth, Jabbar Gaffney, Kyle Brady was on that team. Lawrence Maroney was a running back. Kevin Falk was a running back. Or would you rather have the?
I think the 2021 Bucs weapons are in. Now this is important. In totality, better.
I think so too. No,
obviously the best weapon is Randy Moss.
So that year, Wes Welker had 145 targets, 112 receptions.
Wes Welker was a monster.
Had 112 receptions for 1175 yards, 8 touchdowns, and of course Moss had 90. Moss had 160 targets, 98 catches, 1493 yards, and 23 touchdowns.
If you take Wes Welker's numbers for there's like a 3-year span, he actually has better numbers than Calvin Johnson. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, because he had a quarterback that wasn't getting murdered every drop back.
I'm just saying that Welker is treated as this system guy like Edelman, but he was a monster. And he and Brady had this rapport where they just knew how they were doing the option routes. I would take the Bucs in totality over the 07 Pats.
Yeah, I think so. Breech.
I'll take the 2021 Bengals.
Give me Jamar Chase every day of the week.
Jamar Chase is better than Randy.
I would take the Patriots.
I knew he was going to say that. He's so contrarian.
Would you say you'll take the Patriots?
Yeah.
2007 Patriots.
Over the 21 Bucs?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we talking about the whole entire team or just the offense?
Just the wide receivers.
The pass catchers.
Oh. It's a little closer. I'll go Patriots.
It's like talking to your grandmother.
Breach has been asleep for 30 minutes.
I know. Where am I?
You guys got sidetracked and lost me.
Final question.
Googling cat pictures.
Have you watched Squid Game, by the way?
Spoiler alert, no.
Because I got 90 minutes of Squid Game talk that we can do.
I haven't watched it either.
I just want to take a nap. I want to make sure Debo knows.
Let's chat, Brinson. Episode 6. Let's chat Squid Game.
Okay. Well, we can't do spoilers now.
Might be tough.
What do we have? 1 game left?
Let's talk Urban Meyer. You will have fun with that.
Yeah, save the best for last.
Nice try, Debo. Just so you know, I got the nuclear codes. Titans 37, Jaguars 19. The Jaguars are down 7-0 within 1 minute.
Literally 1 minute.
No, it was exactly 1 minute. Somebody fumbled. Titans took it to the house. Or actually, maybe they got stopped. Whatever it was. The Jaguars are terrible. Jaguars are trash. They're very good, but the Jaguars are trash.
20 straight losses, the second longest streak in NFL history.
So they had a chance late in the fourth quarter to make the game close. I don't think it was to tie, but to make the game close. And Urban Meyer, they ran some crazy play with Carlos Hyde. James Robinson was in the lineup, and he got tackled for a 3-yard loss because, of course, he did. So Meyer was asked about it after the game because he's the head coach. He's supposed to be in charge. And here's what he said. I'm curious what you guys think about this. So Meyer said,
the Trevor Lawrence sneak thing.
A couple things. I just met with OC Daryl Bevel, and we talked about it. This is the 4th down play with Carlos Hyde. I don't micromanage who's in the game. I should have. James Robinson is running really hard, but so is Carlos Hyde. I've got to find out if something was dinged up with James on that situation. So the head coach has no idea. The offensive-minded head coach, by the way, has no idea what's going on a critical 4th down play that could get them back in the game in the 4th quarter. And then he went on to say the quarterback sneak, he's not quite comfortable with that yet. Trevor Lawrence ran the ball in during that game. So I'm not sure what he's talking about. We've been practicing that.
Urban Meyer, this is via Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports. Urban Meyer on why there wasn't a quarterback sneak for Trevor Lawrence from the 6-inch line. Quote, he's not quite comfortable with that yet. I know that might sound silly, but if you've never done it, it's something that we need to keep working on so that we can make that call in that situation.
What were they doing in training camp?
This is like every new thing that comes out is not weird.
It's crazier than the one that preceded it.
Yeah, but this is obviously not crazier than what happened last weekend in Ohio.
No, just like the on-field JLC report stuff. It's like just
but it's like what do you mean, Urban? What do you mean, Urban? Trevor Lawrence doesn't know how to quarterback sneak?
They were supposed to actually talk about it on the plane ride home from Cincinnati.
So what would you say? Let's say Trevor Lawrence, he was 3 years at Clemson, I believe, right?
Yep.
What would you say if you were? That's actually his NFL stats. I'm trying to find. I want to know how many rushing yards and rushing touchdowns do you think he had in 3 years at Clemson?
I mean, a lot because he ran it, but scrambling or calling a QB draw or something is different than a QB. I'm not saying that
He's 6'6".
but you're like
That's
putting
a
yourself in a
football
pile where you can get
episode.
mangled.
But wait a second, Breech.
It's a weird thing to say. He should be doing
Right.
either Urban Meyer or Trevor Warren. Something's messed up here.
He had 18 rushing touchdowns in 3 years. What do you mean he's not ready to run a quarterback sneak?
How many of them came on a QB sneak?
Well, Breech, my analytics say that I don't effing know.
Well, I'm
This
saying
is
the stat
6'6".
doesn't mean
You
anything
haven't
if we don't
got the
know.
answer. What do you mean he's not ready for it? Then why were you doing a quarterback competition?
He
Why
ran
was there a competition with Gardner Minshew, who you traded for a 6th-round pick?
and he scored a rushing touchdown in the game Sunday. Dum.
Tyron Mathieu.
That's all you got to say? That's the best mistake Brinson's ever made.
Well, Trevor Lawrence was asked about it.
Oh, that's your comeback, Tyron Mathieu. Then you go, oh, wait, what did Trevor Lawrence say?
He didn't actually say that.
I know.
Trevor said, no, I feel comfortable. Obviously, I haven't run it in a game, but I feel comfortable. No, the QB sneak is something we can always get to, and I feel comfortable with.
So you just dunked on yourself with that.
What are you talking about?
Trevor Lawrence was asked about Urban's comments after Urban said the comments and was like,
No, all I said was like, I can understand why Urban's saying that, but I said it's weird.
I can't.
It's weird that like, if he honestly, for whatever reason, feels that his quarterback has a problem, clearly they have a communication issue because Trevor does not have a problem with it. But if Urban thought that his quarterback had a problem with it, you're not going to call a play that your quarterback doesn't want to run.
So
that was my point. That doesn't mean I agree with Urban Meyer. That I'm just saying that like I see.
You
why
understand why he's being an idiot. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Okay. Because it sounded like you agreed with him.
No, I do not agree. Like it's a QB
you're,
sneak.
you're giving him a pass for being a dumbass.
No, I said either Urban Meyer or Trevor Lawrence is like lying about this. And so based on the track record of people who lie in that organization, I'm going to guess it's not Trevor Lawrence.
So you agree with us?
Yeah. That's a long-winded way of saying yes. For someone who's trying to get off this podcast, you're doing a terrible job of it, Breech.
What week are we recapping?
5.
Do you know how
6?
many
I don't even know at this
apologies,
point.
public apologies Urban Meyer has issued this
5.
year? 5. We're in week 5. This is this what is the biggest disaster non-Freddie kid? Is this what's the biggest disaster hire?
This is way worse than Freddie Kitchens.
Ask me next week after they play the Dolphins
know,
in
right?
London because the Dolphins are bad. If they beat Miami,
Why do you think
What are you doing with the Dolphins?
what?
What?
They're playing the Dolphins on Sunday. If they lose to Miami and they go into their bye winless, then it's
Why wouldn't they be winless a week from now?
What
because
is
the Dolphins are horrible.
so if they beat this 1-4 team in London, then everything's fine?
No, you have a win though. It's not as bad as Freddie Kitchens or Hugh Jackson.
It's like looking at your wife and be like, I have a nickel. Like,
This is, by the way, this is way worse than Steve Weish in Arizona.
the
no.
Dolphins are. Oh wait, no,
Not Steve, not,
Steve Weish, for sure. NFL.
yeah, what's his name?
Steve Wilkes.
Steve Wilkes. Sorry, Steve Weish. Although you could probably do a bit.
Not me.
Yeah,
I have to cut that and put it on social media.
Steve Weish is the man, by the way.
I would imagine he'd do a better job coaching the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But Steve Wilkes, this doesn't even compare.
No, I'm trying to think of who the 1 year. All right, I got one for you. How many? All right, I keep asking this. Who wins more games than the 2021 Jaguars? Urban Meyer or Adam Gase?
Adam Gase.
I wholeheartedly agree.
This ranks right up there. However, this plane crash
It's
ends.
going to be Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino giving a press conference in a neck brace with his face all scuffed up because he was on a motorcycle with someone that wasn't his
But
wife.
that was after he left the Falcons mid-season and left a note in the locker room. Was like, "Hey y'all, sorry, peace."
Peace. That's right.
Because
Yeah,
Vic got arrested. He was like, "Oh, I'm screwed." He bounced.
On a motorcycle, he didn't know how to ride. Apparently,
All right, I'm kind of. I don't want to get yelled at by. Well, actually, Shelly Meyer deleted her Twitter, so I don't care. If Urban Meyer quits the Jaguars this season and claims health reasons, I feel like it's okay to say he should not get away with that.
what if he's really sick this time? Then you look like a real big jerk.
Yeah, you would.
I'm just saying that if
why do you care whether he gets away with it or not? He's still
Right.
going to be rich.
Like,
It
and
doesn't-
just let him leave the NFL and he can tuck his tail between his legs and go back to college.
it's BS that he did this press conference. He's like, you know what? I went in that restaurant. They tried to drag me to the dance floor. I should have walked away.
but he's always going to be the guy, whether you get your vindication or not. That every time,
Like that's not okay.
but every time he walks by a group of people, they're going to snigger and laugh that, oh, that's the guy that got the dance from that young woman.
He was like, bail.
Why?
I just think it's like do you see the Onion article they did on Urban?
No.
He goes, the headline was like, Urban apologizes for being slow to catch up on NFL news cycle for apologies. Or like something like he's like, listen, in college, usually I can do a one statement and it's kind of buried under the rug. And here it's a little different. I'm not used to it. I'm trying to get up to speed. I'll be there in a couple of weeks, guys.
Yeah, I don't know if he needs to pay for anything. He's sort of
I don't want to pay for anything. I just think if he walks away, then it's like I'm sick. It's BS.
okay. That's fine. I think he probably regrets a lot of the things he's done the last 10 days.
Yeah,
and maybe longer than that because as Jason Lockenfora has been reporting for some time, things have been sort of wacky since the summer in terms of how that place is like crazy town. So
yeah, it's a mess.
It's a hot
Just
mess.
like this podcast. So let's
and sort of shadowed in all this is that the Titans haven't been playing very good football.
The Titans are not good. If the Jaguars were within one score, I think in the third quarter.
If Jacksonville played competent football, this would have been a close game. Because like the first play of the first possession, Jacksonville fumbled it and the Tennessee returned it for a touchdown. So it's already 7-0. The play Ryan's talking about, the QB sneak, was a 4th and goal at the 1 yard line. If Jacksonville converts there, it's 31-26 in the fourth quarter. But they went for it on 4th down. Like it was just.
But if Jacksonville had won the game, they would have been one game out of first place.
Correct.
Should we bet on the? This is the stupidest thing I've ever asked in the history.
Yeah, don't even finish that thought, Brinson.
Wilson's gone, so he can't make fun of me. He's peeing for the second time on this podcast.
No. If you're going to put money on a long shot, put it on Houston.
70-1 Breech.
Who you feel better about, Houston or Jacksonville? They're at the same odds right there. They're both plus 7,000.
I wasn't going to answer that question.
I would take Houston over Jacksonville.
I would too. Jacksonville mess. I mean, the Titans are probably winning that division. I might take the Colts. 2.5 to 1's not enough. All right, let's get to winners and losers. And we're going to play a little game of chicken here because you're going to start, and we'll see how quickly Wilson can get back to his empty blue lit chair. Who's your biggest winner from week 5?
You know what, Brinson? My winner is Jameis Winston. Look, we saw the stats. Jameis Winston is as good as Drew Brees. The Saints upgraded at quarterback, and everyone in America who watched that game today, which wasn't much because I think it was only one of those games is only on like 2% of the country. But we got the full Jameis Winston experience. That first quarter, we got a Jameis interception, we got a Jameis fumble, and then Jameis bounced back, and he peaked with a 72-yard touchdown pass, a Hail Mary, threw 2 more touchdown passes in the second half. The man threw 4 touchdowns against a crappy Washington defense. But you know what? Jameis has looked, for the most part, pretty good, and the Saints are 3-2. And I didn't ever think I would call Jameis Winston my winner any week this season, but I'm giving it to Jameis.
Wilson, do you have a winner from week 5 for us? If you don't, I'm happy to go ahead.
I got one.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Chargers, and in particular, Justin Herbert. Huge win.
And Brandon Staley.
And Brandon Staley. Yeah, he should be at the top of that list. Huge win against a really, really good football team in Cleveland. And it was touch and go the whole game. The game went back and forth. But Justin Herbert finished with 398 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and just wearing out defenses. And that Browns defense is really, really good. And I think these guys are going to win the division. And I think my guy, Justin Herbert, is going to end up being the MVP. And he will dunk on Breech when he accepts the award in January.
Ooh, now there's a question. If Justin Herbert wins MVP, clearly the tattoo is not happening before January. Would that nullify the tattoo?
No, someone tweeted at me and Breech tonight asking what the update was on the tattoo. Of course, Breech didn't respond, but I said it's still waiting for him. There we go. Thank you.
Graber McCray says my loser is Breech for not coming through on the tattoo design.
Oh, he missed! He missed! missed. Oh, and he may have pulled a hamstring or a muscle, and there is complete elation.
Hamstring or a muscle. I love it.
My winner is the band Wilco.
What?
I'm just kidding. It's a dad rock joke. Tom Brady's 44, and this dude is dropping bombs all over. He went down to Miami and put a nuclear warhead on his old buddy Brian Flores and the Dolphins defense by throwing for 411 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's 44. 44. He is 4 years older than me. He's 4 years younger than Breech. He's 17 years younger than Wilson.
Just 4.
I mean,
the point taken.
He's doing this at 44, and he gets tackled. He's so limber. It's unbelievable. Tom Brady is redefining everything we know, and I really think what we were saying earlier with the Buccaneers, that his stats and what they're doing, and because of their schedule, and because they're going to be a dogfight with the Packers for the number 1 seed in the NFC, and you need that number 1 seed to get the bye, that Tom Brady may shatter every conceivable passing record this year because he's linked up with this vodka root beer slugging lunatic, no risk it, no biscuit, Bruce Arians, and they're just chunking it deep and they don't care. And he's 44 and he's doing this. It's insane. He has 3 Hall of Fame careers. Breech, you're a loser.
My loser is a group of people called kickers. It pains my heart to say that. But look, we all saw what happened in week 5. There were 24 missed kicks. Ryan mentioned the 12 missed extra points, which is tied for the most ever in a single week in the Super Bowl era in NFL history. So that record could break on Monday night if either Indianapolis or the Ravens ends up missing an extra point. But it was an ugly week. Not only did we have 12 missed extra points, also 12 missed field goals. The Packers and Bengals combined for 6 missed kicks. The Texans and Patriots combined for 4 missed kicks. So there's just missed kicks everywhere. I mean, it was just kicks going wide right, kicks going wide left.
Didn't they miss their first 3 extra points or 4 extra points?
The Texans missed their first 2.
But the Patriots missed.
All 3 touchdowns. The first 3 touchdowns in that game all had missed extra points. Brinson. Yes, correct. So it was a sad day for fans of special teams everywhere, including myself. And so I guess I can include myself on the loser list. Kickers and Breech.
Are you crying?
It was like fake rubbing a tear away. I was adding emotion to my story.
And the Bengals lost despite the other team's kicker missing
27 times.
27 field goals. This is the longest ever. Is that Demas?
It's official. It's official.
Really? Oh, we did it! Hey!
Unbelievable.
Imagine if we started.
Okay, I'm done with winners and losers. I can go. Good night.
Yep. You're a loser. You're sticking here. All right, Wilson, who you got?
Look, I could say the Chiefs here, but I know the Chiefs are actually a good football team. Will get better, so I'm going with the obvious choice and one that I may stick with for some time. The Jaguars. Urban Meyer is an absolute train wreck. Shad Khan was short-sighted.
Bamboozled?
No, I think he look. We talked about it before. I think he's a billionaire. He built his company by himself, and to be blinded by Urban Meyer, college coach, who has been an absolute disaster in Jacksonville and clearly overwhelmed and out of his element. It's just straight up. It's nuts. And this is worse than Freddie Kitchens. This is worse than Steve Wilkes. This is worse than Hugh Jackson during his 0-22 streak or whatever it was. This is straight up embarrassing.
We've been doing this since 2008, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember a worse coaching hire.
Even Rod Marinelli, when he went winless in Detroit, it wasn't from lack of trying. It was just from lack of talent.
It also wasn't 5 weeks in. You're like, should this guy just walk away? It's unbelievable. My loser will be Joseph Judge.
Ooh.
And I feel bad about this, but and this is not like Joe Judge sucks and he's a loser, but the try hard thing where he makes everybody sprint, everything's sort of backfiring on him in an unfortunate way. Saquon Barkley suffered an ankle injury that looked really bad. It was swollen to the point that it looked like a goiter on his ankle. He's probably not going to be around for a few weeks. That's a dagger. Daniel Jones was wobbling around the field because Jason Garrett called two power runs, and then did the obvious thing and optioned out Daniel Jones to the left, like everyone knew he would do, and the Cowboys knew. They stopped it, and he got hit hard. He was carted off. Kadarius Toney, their number one draft pick, had a monster game, 189 receiving yards, but then he got ejected because he punched someone's helmet with his hand. Kenny Golladay, their high-priced free agent signing, dealt with a hamstring injury all preseason. Now is dealing with a knee injury. Sterling Shepard didn't play. Darius Slayton didn't play. Everyone's hurt. They're 1-4. And I think that Joe Judge's aggressive turbo Nick Saban, Bill Belichick Jr. act will wear very thin if this team keeps losing games, and it will probably end poorly. And Dave Gettleman, in an attempt to save his job, will scapegoat Joe Judge, and the Morrows will probably keep Dave Gettleman, and he'll sign Saquon Barkley to an extension, and Joe Judge can go back to coaching special teams somewhere. Sorry, Joseph. That's it. That's the show.
That was the Brinson 2 a.m. rant special.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad coach. It's just not going to work out. It's not you. It's me.
I don't like you.
All right, that's the show. Thanks for watching. Record-breaking recap. I can't wait to my buddy Darren Smith in San Diego. Do radio with him every Monday, and he always announces as I come on the length of this show. Yeah, correct. 2 hours and 16 minutes. Can you believe it? See you, boys. Later.